Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our regular council meeting for December 16th, 2025. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the playing of our national anthem. And/or treaty lands of the Indigenous people of Turtle Island. We recognize our municipality on the Robinson-Huron Treaty Territory is home to many past, present, and future Indigenous families. This acknowledgement of the land is a declaration of our commitment and collective responsibility to reconcile the past and to honor and value the culture, history, and relationships we have with one another. Next, I will introduce the members of council who are present today. In the community center here, we have Councillor Janice Bray, myself, Mayor Comrie. Participating via Zoom today, we have Councillor Joe Lamb and Councillor Brian Woods. And we've been advised that Councillor Scott Nash will not be joining the meeting today. So I guess the four of us will have to work extra hard. We also have a staff with us present in the community center. Our CAO clerk, Nigel Black, our deputy clerk, Wendy Schroeder, and our treasurer, Jessica Sinkowski. So, and I think I'm just looking on the, I'm just looking to see, we also have our fire chief, Bob Whitman, and our planning assistant, Paula Macri, who are on Zoom today. And we will be hearing from them probably later on in the meeting. We have some other guests who are going to participate, and I'll introduce them as when the time comes. So before we get started, I'll ask if any member of council has a pecuniary interest to disclose in today's proceedings. Hearing none, let the record show that none was declared. Next, and the first item of business then would be to approve our agenda for today. I will ask for a mover and seconder for the motion to approve the agenda as presented, and then we have a couple of amendments to the motion, which we'll deal with. So here's the motion I'm looking for. Whereas the members of council of the municipality of Whitestone have been presented with an agenda for the December 16th, 2025 regular council meeting, be it resolved that the agenda for this meeting be adopted as presented. Can I get a mover and seconder for that, please? Councillor Bray is moving.
I can second, Mr. Mayor.
And Councillor Woods is seconding. Thank you. So before we call the question on that, we would need a motion to add items that were circulated since the main agenda was made public. The items are as following. There is a public meeting, and it's already on the agenda as item 6.1. This is in relation to a proposed zoning bylaw amendment. The applicant is Will Roberts. There were two comments that were received since the agenda was circulated. They're listed as items 6.1.3 and 6.1.4. So we want to add those. In addition, there are two items under business matters. 11.2, which is information about the 2026 FONOM conference in Timmins. That's 11.2. 11.3 is a response from the West Parry Sound Health Center in regards to the rural nurse practitioner-led clinic, an item that was raised at a previous meeting. So could I get a mover for an amendment that items 6.1.3, 6.1.4, 11.2, and 11.3 be added to the agenda?
Well, I can move it, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Woods, seconded by Councillor Bray is seconding. So any discussion on that amendment? If not, then I will call the question on the first amendment to add those items. All those in favor?
Councillor Woods, yes.
Councillor Lamb, are you? Did we lose? No, we didn't lose.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes.
Yeah.
Are you in favor of adding
Yes.
those items, Councillor Lamb?
Yeah, I am, yes.
All right, thank you very much. That amendment is carried. Sorry, I'll just make a note here. Amendment 2, 3, agenda. Okay, there is a second amendment which I want to propose, so I'm going to turn the chair of the meeting over temporarily to Councillor Bray. And I will move my amendment. And my amendment is very simple. It is that item 5.12, which is an application to purchase and close shore road allowance from the Berries, be moved to closed session. That's item 15.3. And the reason that it be moved to the closed agenda as a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality pursuant to the Municipal Act, Section 239(2)(c). And I'm moving that because I believe that there are some sensitive matters associated with this application that we should not be discussing. There's some legal implications that we should not be discussing in an open session. So I'm moving that amendment. Is there a seconder for that amendment?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, sorry. Yes, you're the chair. You go ahead, Councillor Bray.
Thank you very much.
That's my amendment.
We have a mover. Do we have a seconder for this amendment?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? So I guess I can,
I have a quick question if I could.
I have one too. I'm having a problem with my mic, so go ahead, Counselor Woods.
Is there any reason that we would have automatically put it into the open if you would have thought, Mr. Mayor, that it should be put in closed? Like, why wouldn't it have went to closed if it's that, sensitive of a subject? Why would it be put into the open meeting?
If I can respond,
certainly.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
It was originally enclosed, if you recall this particular item. And we asked enclosed for some additional information from our planning consultants, which they did provide. But nothing in the package that we have today addresses the concern that I have. And I don't about with this particular item. I think we're missing some things about it that might have implications for the municipality. So that's why I'm trying to get it back into close so we can make sure everybody understands what those are. And we're not, I guess the other thing is there's no particular urgency. We don't have to make a decision on this today or anything, but I'm going to be suggesting ultimately that we do get a real legal opinion in connection with the matter.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess my comment through the chair is I guess if we move this to go into closed and we go into closed and we, being the majority of council, don't feel we should have done that, we can always then move it to go into open and discuss it there. That would be up to the majority of council. I think that's correct, Mr. CAO.
Through you, Mr. or Mrs. Chair. Absolutely, that would be council's prerogative if they decided that it was a matter that could be discussed in open session. You could move it back into open session.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? So I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Sorry, was there a seconder?
Yes, Joe Lamb.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Councillor Lamb, sorry.
Yeah, I'm in favor.
Councillor Woods?
No.
Yeah. There are two hands up here, so it's that's carried.
Could I call for a recorded vote?
Mr. Sierra, is that?
I think you could.
Yes.
I mean, you've essentially taken the vote, but if you
Yes.
wanted to do it in a recorded fashion, we could do that.
Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Lamb,
Yes.
Councillor Woods,
Nope.
Mayor Comrie,
Yes.
Chair Bray.
Yes.
Thank you. That amendment is carried.
And I'll turn the chair back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Bray. I believe now we have the two amendments to the agenda. We can approve the agenda as amended. Can I call the question then on that? All those in favor?
I'm in favor.
Thank you.
Councillor Woods, yes.
Okay, thank you. We now have an agenda. So the first item of business is under presentations and delegations, is a presentation from our municipal accountants, auditors, Payable and Associates. And we have with us today Rebecca McDonald, CPA, who is she's on Zoom, and she's going to lead us through a report on our consolidated financial statements for 2024. I'm assuming that our treasurer and our CAO clerk don't want to have anything you want to say first. Is that true? Will we just turn it over?
Through you, your worship. Yeah, I think you can turn it over. I don't have anything to add. I don't know if the treasurer does.
No, I don't. There's like keep it close to the side. Yeah. But it's a tricky spot. It takes for a while.
Okay, so I'll turn the floor over to Rebecca McDonald. Welcome, and please lead us through your presentation, Rebecca.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm assuming everybody has a copy of the financial statements, or is there an ability to share the screen if you don't?
I don't know, we could give her the ability to share the screen perhaps, and that way
Oh, there they are.
people who, it was circulated with, everybody should have it in their virtual or hard copies, but it would help to have it on screen too, I think. You should be able to have.
Am I missing something here?
We're just having a bit of a delay getting this up on the screen,
Okay.
folks, so please bear with us. Does not seem to be working. Is that?
If you're all right with me going ahead, I'll just walk you through and I'll let you know what page I'm on. And then if there's any questions, just let me know.
I guess that's the
Yep.
best we can do.
Yeah.
Unless it's possible for our deputy clerk to find it and put it up, is it? Do you, or? Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Okay. So we do, she can move it along as you present, Rebecca. We got it on the
Sounds good.
screen now.
Thank you.
Your first page.
All right, so I'm just going to go through a high level of your consolidated financial results as of December 31st, 2024. I'm going to start on, it's page 1 at the top, but it's actually page 3. This is the management responsibility right there. So this was part of a new standard last year that the management responsibility has to be attached with the financial statements. So we will ask your CAO clerk as well as your treasurer to sign off on the final copy of the financial statements, just acknowledging that management is responsible for the integrity, the objectivity, and the accuracy of the financial information that's presented in the accompanying financial statements. So that was just new last year. That just gets attached as part of the statements. So on the next page is our independent auditor's report. These get longer and longer every year. The first paragraph is the results, so our opinion. So it just states we have audited the consolidated financial statements of the corporation of the municipality of Whitestone that comprise the consolidated statement of financial position as at December 31st, 2024, the consolidated statement of operations, the consolidated change in the net financial assets, consolidated cash flows, as well as notes to the consolidated statements. So the next little paragraph there just says, in our opinion, the accompanying consolidated financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the municipality as at December 31st, 2024. Just basically states that it is a clean audit opinion. There is nothing that has come to our attention that would make us believe that these are materially misstated. There is a paragraph about 3/4 of the way down the page that says management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of these consolidated financial statements. And then underneath that, it says those charged with governance are responsible for overseeing the financial reporting process. There's kind of everybody's responsibilities. And then our objectives, that last paragraph there, our objectives are to obtain reasonable assurance about whether these consolidated financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatement, and then to issue this audit report that includes our opinion on the statements. So that's just the results. On page 4 at the top, is the consolidated statement of financial position. So this is otherwise known as the balance sheet. This is at a point in time. So this is just a snapshot as at December 31st, 2024. So under your financial assets at the top, just over $2 million of cash and cash equivalents. The next item down is your accounts receivable of about $800,000. So that includes taxes receivables. There's some HST rebates in there, as well as trade receivables. Your liabilities are your accounts payable and accrued liabilities of just over $1 million. Those include your accrued payables, your accrued wages as of December 31st, as well as the timing of trade payables that are due. The next 3 items have notes, so I'll flip to them all at the same time, so we're not flipping back and forth. Deferred revenue of $232,000, municipal debt of $2.2 million, and then the asset retirement obligations of $600,000. So I'm going to flip to the notes. Page 12 at the top is note 6. Down a couple more. There we go. So note 6, this is your deferred revenue. So just shows the continuity of what is included in that deferred revenue. So we start at the beginning of the year with about $122,000 contributions received that were added to this of $303,000. There was some interest earned, and then $196,000 was recognized as revenue for the year. So we end up with $232,000, which includes your parkland, your Canada Community Building Fund, and then there's some grants that are deferred in there as well. The next page is the breakdown of all the municipal debt. So that number on the top there is the new debt that was incurred during the year. And then the last one at the bottom was the debt that was paid off. Other than that, all the other debt is the same. And then 2 pages later is note 10. This is the asset retirement obligation. This was a new standard last year, so they changed the landfill liability closure It's now called asset retirement obligation. So it added the cost of the liability onto the landfill asset. So it's amortized over the remaining life until the landfill closure has to be paid for. So the liability has only changed. They call it the accretion expense. It's essentially the passage of time. So we present value the future expenses, and then it just increases until that liability has to be settled. So back to the statement of financial position, page 4 at the top. So just the last little section there is your non-financial assets. So the tangible capital assets of $12 million. I won't make you flip to the schedule. It's probably the second last page, if not the last page. It just shows the additions of about $999,000 that was added during the year. That includes, there was some recreation facility additions, some fencing, boat launch work, as well as a fire truck. And then there was some roads equipment that was added during the year. And then we also look at the annual amortization, which was about $800,000. So additions of just over 900 and amortizations of 830. So we look at assets being replaced. So as long as your additions are more than your amortization, it means that you're replacing your assets as they are being used up or amortized, which is good to see. So you're replacing your assets as needed. And then the last two items there on your non-financial assets is your inventory of supplies. So these are things like sand, salt, and gravel inventory as of December 31st. And then your prepaid expenses, which is primarily prepaid insurance of about $59,000. So then the next page is your consolidated statement of operations and ending surplus for the year. So we have total revenue of about $5.8 million. It's an increase of about $136,000 over budget. That was primarily other revenues. So there was an increase to parkland revenues, licenses and permits, as well as interest that is included in there. Total expenses for the year of $5.5 million, which is under budget by about $53,000. And that is a culmination of, there was a decrease in general government of about $75,000. There was legal and consulting fees that were under budget. There was a decrease of about $20,000 under environmental, about $30,000 under recreation and culture. There was an increase in roads of about $100,000, and then a decrease in planning and development of about $35,000 under budget. So we end up with a consolidated annual surplus of about $287,000 for the year. When we add that to the beginning of the year, we end up with an accumulated surplus of just over $11 million. And then the next two schedules, I'm not going to go through those in detail. Those are just the changes, the reconciliation of your net asset, net financial debt number, and the cash flow. So it just shows the change in cash for the year. And then there is note 2 that is just acknowledging that there is some changes in accounting policies that were adopted during the year. So it goes through, sorry, page 11 at the top. Last one, I promise. So note 2 there, the change in accounting policies. So these just had to be adopted for the year. So it goes through, there was 3 new standards that came into effect. So they were adopted by the municipality, and there was no change needed to the statements to account for those new policies.
Mhm.
Is there any questions on any of that?
Yeah, through you, is my mic on?
Yes, it is. Go ahead, Councillor Lamb. Sorry, your mic was on, but no, it doesn't seem to be. You're muted, actually, Councillor Lamb.
Am I on again?
Yes, you're on again.
I apologize for this. I'm trying to do the Zoom on my phone and the agenda on my computer here. So anyway, I'm concerned, or not concerned. I have questions with respect to the reserve. If I read it right, when we set our budget for 2024, we put a figure in there that we were going to have a surplus of 98,000. And the actual surplus ended up 287,000, which is, roughly 190,000 or so. Am I reading that correctly?
That 287 is consolidated, so it includes the library as well as the cemetery in there. So the municipality amount was actually, the ending is 304,900.
Okay, so, but my point is that our surplus was far more than we budgeted. Is that correct? Or our surplus. Coming out at 287 or 334 or whatever, we only budgeted in our budget 98,000. Is that correct?
Yeah, so there was an increase in total revenue of about 136,000 over budget, and then decrease in expenses of about 53 under budget.
Okay, so where did the extra revenue come from?
That was under other revenues, so there was an increase of about $20,000 of parkland, 25,000 of licenses and permits. There was about $47,000 of interest over budget as well.
Okay, so I know going into 2024 that there were some projects that weren't done, right, and completed by the end of 2024. So how would that be accounted for? Would, like, some of the capital projects, we would be bringing monies out of reserve, and then we would be paying whatever the difference between that and the actual cost would be coming, I guess, out of operating or out of, taxation or whatever. So, what, how much of the what I'm getting at is how much of the 287 or 334 or whatever was due to projects that just weren't done?
I don't have that specific information. I'm not sure if your treasurer has that available or if I would have to get back to you on that one.
Yeah, because you could show a big surplus by saying, well, we're going to do all these projects, then you just don't do them. Right? Then you end up with a surplus at the end of the year compared to your budget, right? Jessica, do you have that figure that I was looking for?
She's going to try and answer your question.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for your question, Councillor Lamb. Through your worship, I can bring back an analysis of the surplus at the January meeting. That's what I was going to suggest. And then council can decide at that meeting what to do with the surplus. But I will have to do some analysis. But basically, if a capital project's funded from a reserve and it's not completed, that money stays in that reserve.
Yeah.
If a project is funded from the levy and it's not completed, then that money would go into our bottom line surplus. And then we also
Yeah,
have
and
projects
many of-
that are funded through CCBF and OSIF. That money has to stay in a deferred revenue account, and then it's
Yeah.
allocated at a future point when we have a project planned.
Yeah, and you know that many of our capital projects, or at least some of them, are paid for by a combination of what's in the reserve, plus we supplement it with other revenues, right? Or other, yeah. So some of them are half and half or 60-40 or whatever, right? I'm trying to figure out, yeah, bottom line, how much of the 287 or 334 is attributed, to projects that weren't done. Because as you remember, at the end of 2024, we were going over some staff turnover. Very early, I think, in 2025, our roads superintendent left, And therefore, in the 2025 budget, there weren't a lot of capital projects put in, but certainly we did in 2024, but we just didn't do some of them. So if you could come back to me with that, I would appreciate it. The only other question I have is how are we in terms of the again, I don't have, what's your name again from the accounting firm?
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
Rebecca, sorry, Rebecca, I don't have your
Okay.
name up here. I apologize, but I always ask this each year. When you look at our consolidated financial statements and you compare that to other similar rural communities such as ours, how do we sit? How would you describe our position vis-a-vis the others?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a few measures that we look at. One of them, as I mentioned, is the assets. So we want to see, first of all, your asset base. We want to see the assets are being replaced as they're being amortized or used. So you are replacing your assets as they're needed. The other things we can look at is what you have set aside in reserve. So currently, I believe there's 1.4 million, if I'm not mistaken, was the ending reserve balance. We also compare that to your cash. So we want to see if there's actually enough cash to support those reserves. So currently you have about $2 million of cash. So your reserves are considered funded. So you're not having to pull cash. You can use what's also there available. We also look at your net financial assets or your debt. So your current debt compared to what you have. So you've got $2 million of debt on an asset base of net book value of about $12 million. So it's all dependent on each municipality. We can't necessarily compare yours to another in terms of assets because some have, paved roads versus gravel roads, a different percentage versus another municipality. Others might have district responsibilities for the roads where the municipalities don't have. So in terms of like ratios and stuff, you're replacing your assets as you need to. You've got a surplus sitting there. Your reserves are funded. You seem to be in good shape.
Okay. Good. I had just one other thing. One thing this council has done by design is to increase the reserves, which have generally in the past been around 900,000, maybe $1.1 million or $1.2 million. And I think if you look at the 2025, when you do our accounting for that, you're going to find that our reserves were like north of 2 million. So I think we've done a good job in terms of this. So the only, and my last comment was, in my 19 years on council, this is the latest that our audit has been done. Usually it's done as part of, before we set the tax rate and finalize the budget in May or so, or around there. The audit is done so we know the specific surplus or deficit. And so I, as a counselor, my opinion is you need to get on to the 2024 or the 2025 audit as soon as possible so that we can return to what I call as normal and not be waiting till the end of the year to say, well, this is your surplus for the last year, and then therefore plugging in the 2026 budget, some figure that we're not necessarily confident in. So can we get on to that audit fairly, or in a normal fashion so that it's completed by May?
Yeah, absolutely. I know there was some staffing changes this year, so that added to the challenges. But in terms of 2025, we can start our interim as soon as these ones are finalized and start working on 2025.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, for indulging me. And thank you, Rebecca, for your report.
Thank you.
Those are the end of my questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments? Councillor Woods, did you have any questions or comments on the
No, thanks, Mr. Mayor, but I had much the same questions as Councillor Lamb, and they've all been answered. I'd just like to thank Rebecca for her presentation and the report, and be looking forward to Jessica's upcoming report at a future council meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't believe that there are any other questions on the presentation, so I guess to wrap this particular item up, what we should do is there is a draft motion that was circulated. We'll get a mover and seconder. The draft motion was that the Council of the Municipality of Whitestone accepts the draft 2024 consolidated financial statements as presented by Payable and Associates, professional chartered accountants. And our treasurer has suggested that we add a second item to it. I'll read you the second item because maybe someone's prepared to just move this. And that council directs staff to bring forward a report and draft bylaw at the January 2026 meeting outlining options for the allocation of the 2024 year-end surplus, including the potential establishment of a reserve in accordance with the Municipal Act. So would someone
I'll
like
make that
to move
I'll make
that
that motion.
motion
I'll make it. Councillor Lamb.
with the clause added to it? All right, so
Yeah.
is there a seconder? Okay,
I'll
moved by
second,
Councillor
Mr.
Lamb, seconded by Councillor Bray. Any further discussion on that motion?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly what that means, that in January you're going to bring back a motion to allocate the surplus from 2024. We'll be in 2026. So I'm not exactly sure 100% what that means. I guess it means, if I've got it right, that we take the surplus that we have and somehow either put it into reserve, or we put it into reserves, but in a special account that we can draw upon, or as 2026 goes along. Have I got that correct?
Yes, through your worship, that's correct. To establish a separate reserve, a bylaw is required, and so that's why we're proposing to bring that forward to the next meeting.
Okay, thank you, Jessica.
Is it not correct, though, that we would, in fact, I mean, I understand that you're going to bring forward a report, but we would normally have this discussion about what the reserves are going to be as part of the budget, would we not?
Yes, and the plan was to bring it forward prior to the budget so that you know what that balance is. So when the budget is presented, you know what's available to draw from if you wish to
I see.
allocate some.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that clarification. Any other questions or comments on the motion? All right, I'll call the question then. All those in favor?
Councillor Woods, yes.
Councillor Lamb, yes.
Thank you. That's carried. And thank you again, Rebecca, for your presentation and for your work in putting this all together.
Thank you.
All right, so that then brings us to planning items, for which we normally move into committee of the whole. So the next the next motion that I'm looking for then is a motion to move into committee of the whole to deal with these planning items. Can I get a mover and seconder, please? Councillor Bray moves, seconded by
I can second, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Woods. Thank you. The council move into committee of the whole at looks like 10:50 a.m. All those in favor?
I'm in favor, Councillor Lamb.
Councillor Woods, yes.
Thank you very much. That's carried. So the first, and in fact, the only planning item that we have in committee of the whole is item 5.1, point 1, which is an application to close and stop up a shore road allowance in front of Anna Small's property on Washkash. And we have a report. It's actually from our CAO clerk about this. So perhaps I'll start by asking him if he wants to introduce his report, and then we'll have discussion if necessary.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, at the last council meeting when this was discussed, I was asked to provide a report with respect to the positioning of the bunkie on the property that was being discussed in consideration with this shore road allowance purchase application. I have prepared a report to advise council of where the bunkie is and what its position is relative to the front yard setbacks. Also, I believe our chief building inspector is going to be on site here soon as well to who could potentially answer any questions that come out of this additional information we have provided. I've also included the original the original report that was done on this matter for background information. So I'm available to answer any questions with respect to the information I've included. Hope the CBO will be here shortly and could supplement that as well. So that's all I have to say at this point in time.
Okay, thanks. Are there any comments or questions on what you have in front of you?
Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead, Councillor Lamb.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, the conclusion here is self-evident, obviously, and I knew all the facts that you gave us in the memo last month. There was, I guess, some concern, maybe wrongfully so, by council as to the bunkie, and it was sort of stated that, you know, that was news to us when actually I don't think it was. I think it was in a previous report. So anyway, the only other item, which I guess is the building inspector, and I'm prepared to support this, you know, by the way. But the only other question was the building structure itself, because there was work done on it, insulation and some other things, I think, or maybe just insulation, did not have a building permit. And I guess some might question as to whether a building, you know, whether necessarily a person would say, I'm doing insulation, I need a building permit. So I'd give that. But does it need a building permit, Nigel?
Through you, Your Worship. The building inspector has done some initial investigation into that, and what he's found is the size of that structure doesn't require a permit at all. The only circumstances where it would be if plumbing were to be added to the structure, which I don't believe has happened or is planned to happen. So if the owners did look to do that, yes, they would be required to get a permit. But for anything that has been done to date, no, they did not require a permit.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Okay, thank you. Are there other questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor, I have a quick question.
Go
If I
ahead,
could.
Councillor Woods.
One, I'm surprised about what was said there about a renovation of a sleeping cabin. But I guess it is what it is. We were provided with a copy of the survey for the property here. And on it, it indicates where the bunkie is and where the cottage is. But there's two other structures that I see on the picture. I was just wondering why those wouldn't have been on the survey. Looks to be a garage. That's, I mean, it looks, you know, maybe kind of close to the shore road allowance property edge. But it's not indicated on the survey at all. And then to me, when I looked online on some digital mapping, that's a little bit better than the pictures that we have in our agenda package. It looks like another structure down closer to the property line, I would say, like almost sitting right on the corner. Well, I was just wondering what that was and why that wouldn't have been on a survey.
Through your worship, I can answer that if you like.
Go ahead, please.
The survey that's included is for the actual shore road allowance itself. So unless a building is either on that shore road allowance or encroaches onto it, it wouldn't be shown. So if it was on the actual lot, it would not be shown on the survey for the shore road allowance.
Okay. My only question would be if the setbacks go from the high water mark property line, right? And if it's, to me, I mean, just looking at the pictures that were provided, right? I'm not saying that they would be over the line, but it doesn't look to me that it would come close to the setbacks.
Yeah, and through you again, your worship, I guess the purpose of the survey is to define the shore road allowance so that it can be purchased. I don't think that the purpose of this survey, at least, was to ensure compliance of all other structures on the property.
Do we know if there's ever any building permits pulled for any of these structures?
Through you, the CBO is here. He may be able to give you information on that, or it may be something that we would have to look into. He's just turning on his mic, so 1 second.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. I am aware that there is a permit for the garage. It was recently closed, I think last year. As for the other structure, I'm not sure the structure we're talking about, but as the CAO has mentioned, we're just talking about the shore road allowance purchase at this time, but I can confirm that the garage did have a building permit and it has been closed.
Thanks, Jamie. I was actually just asking, page 41 of the agenda package. If you were coming in the driveway, I would say, on the right-hand property line, it would be looking at this picture, the lower red line. If you go right to the end, right up to the shoreline, it looks like there's a building sitting there. I just had a question as to what that was.
Through you, Mr.
Looks
Mayor,
like-
if the photo on the screen there showing the rectangular structure straight off the driveway, that would be the garage.
Okay, now to the right of it is what I'm saying. Right at the property line between this property and the property next to it. Yeah, that one right there. What is that? Is that a garage? Because, I mean, on the West Parry Sound Geographic Network, when I look at it on my computer and I can zoom in, the appearance is better. It looks like a building structure there. I was just curious, what is that?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, based on the picture, I can't tell if it's a shadow or a structure. So I can't really comment on that at this time. But again, it's not encroaching on the SRA.
It looks like a bluff.
Would it? I don't know. To me, so obviously then, I'm taking that there's been no site visit here recently. To me, it looks like a structure. I'm just, it's just a question. And I thought it was brought up before at a previous meeting
Yeah.
about the same structure.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, again, I was on site, I believe, last year to close the garage permit. I was not looking at other structures at that time. So again, I can't comment on what that structure in question is.
Is the applicant on the line who can answer that?
It's possible that she is. I guess my question is, I'm not sure what relevance this has to the application for the shore road allowance. I mean, why is this? Why is understanding everything that's on that diagram necessary to? For
Well,
us to
because,
deal with the
because I think
application?
Counselor Woods has the right to ask that question. And you're right, it's not relevant in the sense of the shore road allowance, which I feel will probably pass, but he's just simply asking a question, what's that structure? And he's asking of the chief building officer whether there's been a site visit and whether there's a building permit for whatever that is, if indeed it needs one. That's all fair, as you know. Through our building inspector, we've hounded him for the last 2 years in terms of outstanding building permits, et cetera. And when we look at facts, then we see this, we have somewhat of a duty, I would say. And Councillor Woods, his question is legitimate to be asked and answered. Doesn't mean we won't approve the shore road allowance. If everyone's looking at this structure, or whatever it is, someone knows what it is, or go out and see what it is.
Okay, thank you. It appears that Ms. Small has opened her microphone. Can you answer the question for us, Anna? Do you
Yes,
know what we're talking about?
yes, I do. Good morning, and thank you through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Woods and Councillor Lamb. That structure is an old boathouse that was built in 1959. Obviously prior to the establishment of the municipality of Whitestone, similarly to the structure that has been in question regarding so-called Bunkie. Those buildings were built way back when. And in terms of building permits, that was not something that was part of the process back then. So that building is there and it's been used as a boathouse.
Thank you, Anna.
Thanks, Anna. So
Could you, Jamie, answer the question? I think Councillor Woods brought up last month and again this morning about the insulation in the building, and I guess you've determined that by doing the insulation work does not require a building permit. Is that correct?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Lamb. Yes, the structure in question is less than 10 square meters. Therefore, unless the property owner was intending to put plumbing in the structure, any sort of improvements to said structure would not require the benefit of a building permit.
Okay, thank you, Jamie.
So if I could finish my questions, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Councillor Woods.
It's just on this picture, to me, it looks like that structure is over a property line, encroaching or too close to the water's edge line that we have shown here. To me, that's all I was asking. Jamie, you said you closed off the garage permit last year. So would the garage be, well within the guidelines for yard setbacks from the property's edge that's shown here without them owning the shore allowance?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Woods. My predecessor who issued the building permit for said garage would have done a zoning review during the application process to ensure that it met the required setbacks, as well as during a pre-footing inspection, ensuring that it met all required yard setbacks as well.
So we're confident that that's correct then? I'm assuming that's your answer, Jamie?
In my, through you, Mr. Mayor, Councillor Woods, in my opinion, yes, that structure is located in compliance with the zoning bylaw.
Okay. So the Bunkie, Jamie, or as I think Ms. Small said, the so-called Bunkie, I'm not sure what it is now because I thought it was a sleeping cabin is what we were told. So if I have a structure that I have designated as a sleeping cabin, or, you know, someone spends the weekend there, kids camping there, and I upgrade the interior space to make it so that I could sleep in it in the winter, I don't need a building permit for that?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Woods, provided that the sleeping cabin is not greater than 10 square meters, then that is correct. The building code doesn't require any sort of permit to build or improve on a structure that's not greater than 10 square meters.
So would I need a building permit to build a sleeping cabin less than 10 square meters on my property today?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, from the municipality of Whitestone, you would not require a building permit. However, you would need approval from the North Bay Manawa Conservation Authority for the additional bedroom.
Okay. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anything further on this particular application? All right.
Through
that-
you, Mr. Mayor, it's Councillor Nash. I was able to get on the call. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you. I had a couple questions on this file. Thank you. And I understand, Jamie, you're on the line also, so that's great. When I was listening in here for the last several minutes, I had heard that the reason that the garage wouldn't be shown on the survey is because it, in fact, wouldn't be on the shore road allowance. So a very simple question, then why is this boathouse that we're just learning about now through questions from Councillor Woods, which is certainly on the shore road allowance, not shown on the survey? And I'm sorry, but the more we ask, the more unknowns we get. If in fact the survey is supposed to show all items that are on our shore road allowance, even up to a flagpole, I as a councillor would certainly think it should show a old boathouse from 1959 that should certainly be shown there. Again, the application supposedly said because of her cottage and her bunkie, but the bunkie was blocked out in a drawing that we were provided. So that's where council wasn't really sure what we were looking at 2 meetings ago. So is there a reason why, if we were told by staff that the garage wouldn't be on it because it wouldn't be on the shore allowance, then wouldn't that same principle be that if in fact this boathouse, which is on the water's edge, on the road allowance, should be shown? And if we're going to be selling it, I think it's only due diligent for us as council to see what is there that we're turning over. So is there a reason why the boathouse is not showing, Nigel, on this plan?
Through you, your worship, it does not appear that it's on the shore road allowance from what I'm viewing. The information that's on the screen right now from the West Parry Sound Geographic Network places it very close to the shore road allowance, but it does not appear that it's on it, and it's not included on the survey. So I can only assume that it is not on the shore road allowance.
Okay, thanks, Nigel. I'm not talking about the garage. I'm talking about the boathouse, which is at the far right corner that Councillor Woods was referring to, and
Yes,
the one that the applicant said was there. And it's like right touching the water.
Through you, your worship, it does not appear to be touching the water on the on what's on our screen right now, and it also does not appear to be across the shore road allowance boundary line. So I am clear on which building you're talking about.
So
Okay.
I want to go back to the original statement of the CAO clerk. The drawing, the survey drawing that was done for purposes of the shore road allowance does not normally include buildings. We have had many of these before. I have some personally, properties that I own where the surveys were done for the shore road allowance. There were buildings that were on the shore road allowance. They were not shown on those drawings. That is not a normal practice for a surveyor to do that.
Mr. Mayor,
And that's what,
I know I'm
that's
just-
what,
Mr. Mayor,
our,
I
that's
know
what
I'm
our
just on the
CAO
call.
clerk, don't interrupt, please.
Mr.
That's what our
Mayor,
CAO
I'm
clerk
the one that
said
had the
in the
floor,
beginning.
Mr. Mayor.
That's
Mr.
not the
Mayor.
purpose of the drawing, and
Mayor.
we have no reason to
Mr.
expect
Mayor.
that those things, the
Mr.
bunkies or
Mayor.
anything
Mr.
else that
Mayor.
might be there
Mr.
will
Mayor,
be shown on that
Mr.
drawing.
Mayor, Mr. Mayor, I had the floor. It took you all of
You
one
relinquished the
question from
floor. In
me.
fact, you told us
I
that
never relinquished.
you
When did I
can't just jump
relinquish
in
the
and
floor?
monopolize the conversation, Councilor.
Mr.
Nash.
Mayor, I had the floor. I was asking our CAO a question, and then
He
you went
answered
and
your
started
question,
talking.
and I'm
And I
adding
wasn't
to his
done.
answer.
I wasn't done. But you don't have the right to add to his answer.
I am the chair of the meeting. I
talk-
do have the right. If you have something
Not
further
when
you
I'm
wish to say,
asking
go ahead,
questions.
but don't
Okay,
talk over
Mr.
top
Mayor.
of me.
Okay, why do you hate me so much that you cut me off?
I don't
Please
hate you.
answer
I'm
that.
just trying to maintain a little bit of order so we can get on with our business here.
Did I say I was done speaking, Mr. Mayor? Yes or
You
no?
don't need to say you're done speaking. You stopped speaking.
No, I didn't. I was in the middle of trying to talk when you started to talk. So now if you let me continue instead of cutting me off, that would be great. Any
Carry
shore
on.
purchase that we do as council that's brought to us, of course, should show all buildings that are encroaching. If somebody is doing it and doesn't tell us there's an encroaching building, we as council are daft for not ensuring it's on it. And of course it's supposed to be on it. So again, I guess I'll ask the applicant, since they're on the phone, Anna, if you could please answer this. And I do think at the end of the day, you'll get your shore allowance, by the way. But the boathouse that's been there since 1959, is it more than 20 meters from the lake, give or take?
I cannot answer, through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Nash. I have a pretty good eye, but I'm not going to be held to account for commenting that yes or no, it is or isn't. What I can tell you is that on the survey of the originating property, so not the shore allowance, it is not on the shore allowance. If it was, the surveyors would have identified that when they went out to do the survey for the portion that the application has been made for the purchase of the shore allowance. What I can tell you is that on the survey, I believe, and I'm not going to, again, I think it's 1975, there, and I believe also on title, now I had the term in my head, there is an encroachment, but because it's as old as it is, there was no requirement for the building to be removed. But it is acknowledged that there is, it's not I don't believe it's not an encroachment with regard to the shore allowance, but it is very close to the lot line to the property to the right. Again, you have to remember that we're going back to the early 1950s and the history of the properties and so forth. It was, as you will see in many properties in the municipality of Whitestone, with the amalgamation and so forth, that those townships, it was difficult to determine where a lot line was. So it is very close to that lot line, but it's been recognized, and I believe it is registered on title, that it is there. But as long as there aren't any changes made to that building, there isn't an issue.
Yeah,
Thank
you.
It is recognized on the survey of the property, other than the shore allowance. Does that answer?
Thank you.
The CAO clerk
Yeah,
wishes to respond.
Through you, Your Worship, I'm just looking at the notes of the surveyor on the shore road allowance survey. They do note in preparing this survey that any any buildings that are within the shore road allowance or partially within the shore road allowance have been noted on the survey. So that to me would indicate that the building in question is not on the shore road allowance.
Oh, okay, perfect, Anna, and also thank you, Nigel. So, Anna, just two other questions for that, and thank you for the detailed answer. So I think we're a little off topic, but in actuality, if there is a building encroaching on the municipal shore road allowance, in fact, one of two things need to happen. Either it needs to get moved or you can purchase the shore road allowance. So purchasing the shore road allowance will help for your bunkie and your deck, right? And then you won't have a problem. It's kind of like a non-conforming issue. I think I could be wrong, but if there is a building, maybe our building inspector, if he's still on the call, can answer this just so the applicant knows. If in fact her old boathouse from 1950s is not set back the full amount from the property line, that would be considered an existing non-conforming, but she wouldn't need to do anything if I'm correct on that, Jamie?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Nash, that is correct. It would be illegal non-conforming at this point.
Yeah, so you wouldn't need to do anything with that, Ann. I think the question has really just come up as to, is it encroaching on the shore allowance, just so we know. Would the boathouse ever flood in the spring, do you know, with the spring freshet, Anna?
Many buildings, in fact, one on the property to the right of my property. So the building that you see in the aerial photograph to the right of the structure in question here, it floods. Mine has flooded when we had that, what was it, 2018, 2019. You know, there are so many buildings that never had been flooded that were flooded. And yes, we were definitely flooded. You know, it's just, we can't control the weather. So, you know, so whether a building has or hasn't been flooded, nothing to say that if it hasn't been, that it won't in the future. But yes, there has been water in those buildings.
Perfect. And has your garage, the new one that just got closed, ever been flooded?
No. It's very high up. You can't really tell the topography there, where the docks are, close to my property. This is obviously either a fall, I guess it's a fall picture. That there's like a rock cliff there that goes up. The water level would have to probably go up a good 40 to 45 feet for water to even come close to that garage.
Right. Okay. And then my last question, again, thank you for answering all those. I think we're just trying to do our due diligence, Anna, just so you understand. And this is for staff as a learning curve too, for files that come forward. It'd be nice if we see these things on the applicants. But I did learn something new, and I guess I'll just ask Jamie this in closing. Again, the OBC is 160 square feet for not needing a building permit. Is that correct, Jamie?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Nash, that is not entirely correct. The Ontario Building Code was amended to allow for a shed that is not greater than 15 square meters, doesn't contain plumbing, is only one story, isn't attached to any other building, and is used for storage purposes ancillary to a principal use on the lot or building on the lot. Every other structure, such as a deck, sauna, gazebo, sleeping cabin, is still at the 10 square meters.
Okay, but just for everybody that's listening, if anybody builds on their property a sleeping cabin that is under 10 square meters and insulates it and has it as a four-season structure, no building permit is ever needed for that if there's other structures on their property. Is that correct? Just so everybody listening can understand that? Because that's total news to me. I was always under the impression if it's a sleeping cabin you always need to get a permit regardless of the size, but that's not what I'm learning today.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Provided that it complies with all zoning bylaw requirements, the Ontario Building Code doesn't consider it a structure until it's larger than 10 square meters. As previously mentioned, there may be other approvals required from different jurisdictions having authority, such as septic. However, if a structure other than a shed is less than 10 square meters, then a building permit from the municipality is not required. Unless
Okay,
there's
that's
plumbing
good
in
to
it.
know. That's good to know, and I'm sure a lot of people will like to hear that. So overall, thank you, Anna, for being on the call today. Thank you for answering all the questions that have been brought to you, and thank you, staff, for answering all the calls or answering all the questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments or questions from anyone else on this matter? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion that we reconvene into a regular meeting. Mover and seconder.
I'll move it, Councillor Lamb.
Thank you, Councillor Lamb. Seconded by Councillor Bray. All those in favor?
Councillor Lamb, yes.
Councillor Woods, yes.
Okay, thank
Councillor
you.
Nash, yes.
Thank you. And it is, oh. My computer thinks it's 1:22 a.m. Oh, 11:22. Oh, I see what it is. 11:22.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if I might, was there not two planning matters on today, or was something changed before I was able to get onto the call today?
Yes, the second item, which was numbered 5.1.2, has been moved into closed
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
when the agenda was.
And
spread,
just to-
so, okay,
Just
thank
to let
you.
you know also, Mr. Mayor, I'll probably be only able to be on the call for about an hour today. And once I leave from the call now, I will not be able to get back on the call today, just to let you know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. But please just let us know when you're leaving the call so that we're not looking for you to be voting on matters, okay? Thank you.
Will do if I can. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So matters arising from committee of the whole then, there is simply a motion to accept the report that we just discussed. Could I get a mover and seconder that the Council of the Municipality of Whitestone receives for information report admin-2025-2022. The applicant is Anna Small, a proposed purchase of a shore road allowance.
I'll move it.
Moved by
Councillor
Councillor
Lamb.
Lamb. Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Ray. Thank you. All those in favor?
Councillor Lamb, yes.
We will have a bylaw later on, and we will need an approval for that one, but this is just to receive the report, so. which we've
Councillor
already
Woods,
gone through.
yes.
Yes.
We're just homologating what we just did. The rest of voting by Zoom.
Councillor Woods, yes.
Thank you. Councillor Nash.
Councillor Nash, yes.
Thank you. Okay, the next section of our agenda is a public meeting. I'm just wondering, would anyone like a quick recess for just 5 minutes or so to get a coffee and whatever? Could we do that, please? If you want to pause the recording.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Councillor Lamb, we can hear you, and we are ready to resume the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
If Councillor Woods and Councillor Nash are back with us,
Well, I'm here, Mr. Mayor.
thank you.
I am also there, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Nash. Okay, so this brings us to item 6 on our agenda, which is a application for a rezoning, and it is it is being done as in a public meeting pursuant to the Planning Act. So the first item of business here is that the Council of the Municipality of Whitestone move into the public meeting for the following matter. 6.1, a proposed zoning bylaw amendment. The applicant is Will Roberts. And there are two items, of course, not of correspondence, 2 items of planning, as a report, planning justification report from Planscape, item 6.1.1, and a memorandum from MHBC, our planning consultants, under 6.1.2. And in addition, there are comments that were received from members of the public, 6.1.3, Marcia Murphy, and 6.1.4, Sue Jennings and Randy Johnson. So could I get a mover and seconder, please, that the Council of the Municipality of Whitestone move into the public meeting for this rezoning matter?
I'll move it.
Moved by Councillor Lamb, seconded by
I'll second, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Woods. Thank you. All those in favor?
Councillor
Councillor
Lamb,
Woods.
yes.
Councillor Woods, yes.
Councillor Nash, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. We are now in a public meeting. And so once again, I will call the public meeting to order. Introduce the council, members of council who are present in the room: Councillor Janice Bray, myself, Mayor George Comrie. Online via Zoom, Councillor Joe Lamb, Councillor Scott Nash, and Councillor Brian Woods. We have in the room with us our CAO clerk, Nigel Black, our deputy clerk, Wendy Schroeder, our planning assistant, Paul Macri. And we do have on the call Patrick Towns from MHBC. We also have, I believe we have, Mr. Roberts, appears, is also online, the applicant, and his planner. I see a icon for Planscape. I'm assuming that's Stefan Scherbach or someone from Planscape. Anyway, so we do have folks who will be participating in the discussion, perhaps. I'll ask again if there is any disclosure of pecuniary interest on the part of members of council in this proceeding. And it appears that none is declared. Thank you. So as far as the meeting protocol is concerned, I note that the record of the Zoom meeting will record those in attendance. For those who are showing a phone number only, and I don't think there are any, so that doesn't apply, but we would need you to advise your name for the record if there were any participants with just a phone number. I will ask that all comments be addressed through me, and that the person making the comments state their name before speaking. Next, I will just ask our clerk to advise how notices of this meeting were delivered, and if any letters or related correspondence have been received.
Thank you, your worship, through you. This notice was posted on the municipal website, was also posted in the public bulletin board at the municipal office and published in Metroland's online newspaper, November 25th, 2025. The notice was also mailed to approximately 70 property owners on Bolger Lake. At this point in time, 2 pieces of correspondence have been received, which were added by addendum this morning.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So now we have, we are open for discussion on this particular application. Normal practice would be to invite the applicant to speak if he wishes, or if he wishes his planner to speak on his behalf, he could do that. But
Mr. Mayor?
Will, if you'd like to proceed.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes?
Yeah, sorry, through you, could Nigel please identify who sent in the correspondence and whether they were in favor of this or against it? As opposed to just saying we got 2 things of information.
Oh, okay, sure, we can do that.
Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
First piece of correspondence, as you said in your preamble, was from Marcia Murphy. And I'm just going to, that was included in the package today. And I believe it's handwritten, so just bear with me for a second. That one was I believe you would call that opposed to the application. And the second piece of correspondence was from Sue Jennings and Randy Johnson, and that one was in favor of the amendment.
Thank you.
Okay, back to the applicant. Mr. Roberts, would you like to speak to your application?
Hi, Mr. Mayor. Stefan Sherback here. I can respond on behalf of the applicant if you wish. Or is he online?
Well, he's showing online and his microphone is unmuted, so I don't know, but
I can continue.
Perhaps
Oh,
if you
sorry.
would like to go ahead.
I'm just
Stefan,
driving,
because
Mr. Mayor. Can you hear me, Mr. Mayor?
Well, yeah, I can now. Well, yeah, go
Sorry,
ahead.
I'm
Please.
just in a bad service area. I'm on my way to Brantford right now. I'm going to let Stefan handle the bulk of the details to this, though. I'm going to hand it over to him. He's been working diligently on this. And if there's something that comes up that needs my attention, then I'll address it at that point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Stefan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, everyone. Stefan Sherback.
Could you speak up a little bit, Stefan? We're having trouble
Yes.
hearing you here.
Sorry, let me I'm going to adjust my audio settings. I'll try this. Is that better?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. Yeah, so my name is Stefan Sherback. I'm with Plantscape Inc. Our mailing address is 104 Kimberley Avenue in Bracebridge, P1L 1Z8. I'm obviously here on behalf of Will Ruthven Roberts, the owner of the subject property. I want to thank council for the opportunity to address you with respect to the zoning amendment application today. As Mr. Townsend, MHBC, has appropriately summarized the application in the report, the property is to permit a new commercial marina use on the subject property. The main reason behind this application is due to the success of the previous rezoning application on the adjacent lands, which is also owned by the applicant. They're looking to expand the operation. The property is basically at capacity, which is great. Successful business moving forward. They've really done a lot of work and assistance to the lake community. And they're really in need of additional room to operate the waterfront landing marina use for the two lakes. We accept the approach taken by staff to proceed with this public meeting prior to a recommendation report at a future meeting. I've read Mr. Towns' memo and agree that the relevant policies and the description of the application is correct. And I just wanted to briefly touch on a number of questions and concerns that were noted in the report, including those concerns from the previous application and how they were appropriately addressed. Again, to remind council, the neighboring application was approved by this council. Several building permits were issued and permitted due to the success of the business. I know there's a large dock and some other structures on the property. The owner is looking to expand this operation onto the abutting property so that the current property, the current marina property, is not overused and overdeveloped. I had a brief presentation drafted. Unfortunately, I couldn't share it with you. And what I'll do is I'll include maybe the slides in the follow-up meeting together with my written response. The owner did go out on the weekend and took a wonderful aerial shot of the property. What you see there are a number of the boats that are carefully stacked and orderly in the subject marina property in 3 separate areas. There's a number of internal driveways and some parking areas. It's showing a very crude description of sort of the property line, an area where the current owner has his storage and owner-operator space, and then there's a red shaded area is where the owner wants to expand the basically parking, truck and trailer parking on the abutting property. Again, they don't want to overdevelop the existing property, and they wanted to ensure that there was proper movement of vehicles throughout each of the properties to continue the success of this operation. Again, I'll follow up with some written information to clarify the questions, but I'd like to summarize a number of the noted items, one leading to traffic and potential road implications. The council may recall that the previous staff report for the neighboring lands had a quote specifically related to this, and in the staff report, it was noted that the remoteness of this landing attracts a special kind of adventurer, and the business will not likely create a perceptible heavy traffic, additional traffic loads. I do recall Mr. Jackson mentioning that the status of this road really required a 4-wheel truck. It's not an easily traveled road, and he was I think complaining about getting out to this landing. Regardless, in my opinion, in discussions with the owner, the main users and clients are those who already exist on the lake and have previously relied on the public access point that's co-owned by the Ministry of Natural Resources. And I think the township also has an agreement with the Shore Road Allowance at the end of Bolger Road. There was a question about the existing water access lots on the lake. Again, the previous report clearly noted that there were 77 lots, 37 and 40 on the 2 lakes being Bolger and Kashagaba Lake. With all of the only 4 lots have road access, and those are owned by the Ruthman Roberts family. There was a concern about potential additional boat traffic expected by the activities of both the neighboring and the adjoining lot. Boat traffic is not expected to increase. Again, the previous application has significantly reduced the amount of parking and boat storage on the public access point. There's a specific number of lots that are currently operating today. Again, this is just providing an alternative to ensure that those in need of water access have appropriate parking and proper storage and maintenance of their boats and trailers. And again, with respect to the reduction of the use on the Ministry of Natural Resources property, the Cottage Association during one of their summer meetings also acknowledged that the use of the public access point has decreased because of this operation, which is great. And they supported the subject application for the lands in front of you today. There was a comment about phasing the marina and waterfront landing. Phasing is not required. The air photo clearly shows the works that are being done on the current marina property. Again, there's looking for some small access into the abutting property to, again, assist with establishing a safe use of the property. The owner has no problems putting together a conceptual site plan that's going to show perhaps a dock location, vehicle parking location, emergency access, etc. That's fine. The property will be subject to site plan control, future application, so we can at least initiate that. There was a comment about stormwater management. I don't believe it's necessary at this point. There's no hard surfaces on the property with the exception of a dock. A lot of the, some of the smaller cleared areas are consisting of gravel, and there's a significant amount of vegetation in and around the area. There wasn't the need for a site stormwater management plan for the initial site plan. So therefore, the same should apply in this end. And finally, there was a question about the proximity of fish habitat and the potential impact of fish habitat. I believe in our review of the township's information that there is no sensitive fish habitat on the subject lands. Again, according to the information available from the township, the current marina property has portions of sensitive fish habitat, and in fact, the majority of it are in front of the public access point. The current dock that's on the existing marina application was specifically located outside of this protected area. And I believe, according to the mapping, that this is where the protected area stops. So again, any future docks on the new property, the subject property, I believe are outside of any protected identified fish habitat areas. So with respect to the official plan and the applicable policies, again, there are also a lot of supportive economic development policies that should be considered for small businesses in the municipality. And so, Mr. Mayor and Council, in summary, I'm satisfied that the proposal does conform to the direction of your official plan. It represents good planning, as did the previous application with the exact same similar ask. We're here to listen to the public and address any questions or concerns that you have. I would respectfully request if there's any other questions at the end that I could have time to address them properly. Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
Okay, thank you. I would just note before we get into more discussion, on page 3 of your report, Stefan, it's page 61 of 184. There's a box in the middle of the page that says property details. And I noticed that the reference there is to the township of Seguin or Sequin. And clearly those are, it's the municipality of Whitestone, and the date of our official plan and so on is not.
My apologies.
Correct. I guess I'm also looking just a bit at the diagram, which is on page 63. And it looks to me as if the properties in question from that diagram are in lot 24, but concession 6, not concession 7. So I'm wondering if you're confident that you have the, that you have the correct geographic description of this property.
Mr. Mayor, good catch. I apologize for the reference of the other official plan, cut and paste error with that chart. I'll pay more attention to that. And with respect to the location, the legal descriptions, we will double check that and clarify that. We're confident that it is the property that's right abutting to the existing marine operation. And you're right, it does look like it is in concession 7. So we will correct that as well. Thanks for pointing that out.
No, I'm suggesting it's actually in concession 6, which is, you notice there's a double line going horizontally across there.
I
that
see.
should be the boundary between concession 6 and concession 7, no?
Right, and I'll double check with the pin map. We'll make sure we
All
pull
right.
that and clarify. Thank you.
Anyway, those are clearly not germane to the discussion, but so the next, I guess the next person that we could hear from is Patrick Towns, who has written a report here. Patrick, I'll invite you if you have any comments that you wish to make on your report.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, everybody. Not much to add, to be honest. Thanks, Stefan, for the overview of the application. As mentioned, the purpose of this meeting is to solely seek comments from council or members of the public on the application. No analysis has been completed. Our report provides an overview of the submission. We've had a chance to discuss with Stefan, and really what we're asking for is just further justification in terms of demonstrating conformity to the specific official plan policies that are outlined. And that's what Stefan's going to do with the written submission after the comments are received today, together with that further material that we're requesting. And then after we receive that, we'll review it, and then there'll be a subsequent recommendation report that's prepared at a future council meeting. So that's all I need to add. The purpose of today's meeting is just to seek comments from council of members of the public. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll open the floor then to questions and comments from council.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, as Councillor Nash, if you can indulge me by going first, that'd be great. Once I'm done my comments, I won't be speaking anymore. I'll have to be leaving the call. I might be able to be on for a few minutes to listen, but I won't be able to talk again, and then I'll be losing my signal. So I appreciate it. Just a couple comments and questions, some to staff, some to the applicant, and some to our planner. I believe it was said that 70 notices were mailed out, and I'm just curious as to, I thought for most planning applications, there's a diameter that things are mailed out to, be it, I think it was 200 meters or maybe it's 100 meters. So I'm just wondering why there was 70 mail outs done, what bylaw that's for, just so I know. And do we do that for every rezoning application? That's my first question to staff.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, when the applicant first rezoned back in 2022, I sent out 70 notices. So I was just following the same procedure that I did in 2022. Generally, it'd be 120 meters to provide notification.
Okay, thank you. So if it is within 120 meters, why would 70 be mailed out? I know we said we were following what we did for the last one. I'm not sure if that was correct or incorrect, but would that mean if there's a rezoning on Lake Wawashkesh, would be sending out 500 notices? Like, where is that in a bylaw? And why are we doing so many if it's supposed to be within 120? I think the public being notified is good if it's posted, if it's on our website, it's on our bulletin board, if it's posted in the paper. But why are we mailing it to so many people if we're only supposed to send it within 120 meters?
You want to answer, Mr. Cielo?
Through you, Your Worship. No, I don't think I can give you any more answer than what the planning assistant has already given you, and that being that she followed the same practice of the previous application. If that's not required, we can. I don't believe there's a requirement to notify the entire lake, so we can adjust that practice in the future. But as she said, that is why it was done in this case.
Okay, thanks.
There is a strong precedent for this. Council has agreed in the past that in situations on lakes where there are a substantial number of water access properties. And I would point out to you that the properties of the applicant are the only non-water access properties on Bolger and Cashagaba. All of the rest of them are water access. And about half of the properties on Wawashkish is same situation. We have historically notified all of the residents of the lake. And sometimes we do it by simply notifying the Cottagers Association instead of sending out 70 separate mailings, which I would argue that that's a defensible measure, but it makes sure that people who might wish to comment in a public meeting are aware that this is coming up. Whether we like it or not, the reality is a lot of people do not look at our municipal website and Facebook page to see what is coming up on what applications have been made for development or planning matters or what's on the agenda of the council. So this lets people know, and they can't come back and say, well, if I'd have known that this was coming up, I would have made a submission. It gets us out of the situation where if there's some appeal or further discussion, we can demonstrate that we've followed a conservative process of making sure that people, or maybe it's a liberal policy of making sure that everybody has had an opportunity to find out about it. So that's why we've been doing this for a long time on as I say, on lakes that have significant amounts of water access property, regardless of what distance they are from the applicant's property.
In fairness, through you, Mr. Mayor, what we've done on Wawashkish is, maybe I'm wrong, but as I recall, is we do let where there's a recognized kind of cottage association, we let them know.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember where we said, oh, we've got something occurring, with Anna Small on Wawashkish, we're going to send 400 letters out.
No.
We wouldn't do that. We would just simply, and in this case, if we had let the association know, and I guess we did, because I think they sent a letter in support, or I read Stefan say they are in support of this. So, I don't think, on lakes that we send 70 or 200 letters out, we let the association know. That's my recollection of it. Thank you.
Through
Okay, thank
you,
you.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for that background there. I'd just to continue on with my other questions, but just to fill that one in. In the past, I've heard of a lake association being notified, but never 70 mailings going out. I assume 70 mailings means X amount for postage, which I assume we end up passing on to the applicant, which I don't think we should be doing if something like this is not protocol. And then getting back to how we notify, if the planning provincial policy statement or planning board or planning rules note 120 meters, going forward, I don't think it should be mailed to everybody on their lake, on that lake, or any lake. And if in fact in the past there might have been an unwritten rule where we sometimes notify the lake associations, I think we should make sure before that's done in the future, we should make sure there's a staff report on that and a bylaw signed. And when I come to that, I would say, was there a mailing that went out to the lake association on the two other planning files today that went out to the lake association to say what people were doing? I think if we are letting a lake association know, we need some checks and balances in place as council and a municipality as to what is sent, or what files are they sent, when are they done, when are they not done, before we just do it for some files and not others. So hopefully staff can bring something back and we'll just follow the current rules, which is the 120 meters. Or if it's different for different types of application, follow those rules until we have something in place via a bylaw that staff can follow. And with that said, my next questions are, I understand that the report from our municipal planner noted, and I might be misphrasing this, Patrick, if I am, I apologize, as I don't have it right in front of me, but I believe it said that that you were notified that we as a municipality advised you, our planner, that the lot is undeveloped, the current lot that's commercial next to this applicant. And I guess for that, my question is, I'm not sure why, if we're being told by the planner that there is a lot of activity at the current existing commercial site with trailers or boats parked and docks, and that there is a number of building permits pulled. And I know myself have been out to the lake several times during the course of the year, and I saw firsthand that there was docks and some trailers parked. Why would our report from like the municipality be saying that the current commercial is undeveloped? Can you answer that for us, Patrick? And I have a second part to that question, which I'll ask after you answer the first part.
No, certainly through you, Mr. Mayor. It was just in error. We spoke to Stefan and it just wasn't updated for the final report, but we do understand there is developed there. So that is in error in the information report.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. And I think this leads to my next question. And unfortunately, I believe I'm correct in saying I assume from what I've read and assume from previous files that there was no site visit by our planner, by yourself or another staff member in regards to this application. Would I be correct in that understanding from what I read?
Again, through your worship to Councillor Nash, that is correct. We tried to get out there, just timing didn't work. We do plan to visit it before a recommendation report comes forward.
Okay, and that was leading to my next question. I think I've asked that question on a number of files, and I don't think, unless I'm incorrect, that thus far, I don't think MHBC has been out to a site visit yet for any or very few, at least, of the planning matters that come. And I think that's something that we need to address, because we as council, kind of going back to the previous item, where lucky enough the client was online, was able to answer some things in regards to the shore allowance. We as council can only depend on information we know or information that's presented to us. And the more information we have readily available to us, or the most up-to-date information, really does help myself, and I'm sure the rest of council, to make an informed decision as to what we can discuss and vote on. So the more information presented to us, the better. So going forward, if that's something to be done now, sometimes that might be staff going out, municipal staff taking a lot of photos or something for our municipal planners to help keep staff costs down for the applicants, because I know a lot of the time costs are passed on, but it would help. And my final question, I guess it would be to the applicant's planner, the applicant, is out of the current docks that are there, again, I'm just looking at the previous one. I know the current application doesn't really have to do with the last application. It has to do with your current application. But I'm just curious, out of that, I don't know if you know an exact number, but how many boat slips would there be? What percent of them are currently being rented out? Is it 50%, 10%, 100%? And out of that, how many, if you know, would not be for what I'm going to say local residents of Bolger or one of the surrounding lakes? So I don't know if that can be answered as more of a question, which helps me understand this expansion a little bit. Thank you.
I'm happy to answer this one, Scott. So there is 24 dock spaces. Of these dock spaces, 100% of them are being utilized. There's an additional, I would say, 2, 4, 5, 6 tin boats that are being pulled up on shore that they choose to leave it over on the property and they pay for storage of their tin boats. And there's about 12 outboards that are stored in the sea can. And of all the users, 100% of the users are existing cottagers on the lake. And with every new cottager that has bought property there in the last couple of years since the marina has been established, they have all asked for a dock slip at the marina because it just makes sense and makes their access a lot easier. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So those are all the questions I have now, Mr. Mayor. I won't be speaking again. I'll try and stay on the call for a few more minutes muted, but eventually staff will see my call disappear and I will not be able to be back on the call the rest of the day. So just so you're aware of that, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Nash. Questions or comments from other members of council? Anybody? Okay, I will open it up then to any members of the public who are on the call who would like to speak to this. If so, please, as I mentioned earlier, please identify yourself, unmute your microphone and identify yourself. I see there are some folks here who, okay, so I have a hand up, Gordon Kirby. Did you wish to speak, Mr. Kirby?
Yes, I'd like to ask a question. As Gordon Kirby speaking, I'm a cottager on Bolger Lake. I currently have my trailer stored on the commercial property owned by Mr. Roberts, and it's very convenient for me. I do not have access, or I do not rent a slip in the dock area. It's not necessary for me, but I have a question about the primary uses. So far what's been discussed is with respect to marina, but I notice also on the list of tourist commercial exception number 4 zone that there includes tourist establishment, rental cottages, and resort. And if the primary use is going to be for the proposed site to be for marina use only, why have those other potential uses been included in that list? Because obviously that has further implications with respect to use of the lake and traffic on the road and that sort of thing. And I'm sure other cottages would like to know the same answer to that question as it came up in the previous application for the current commercial use site. I'm not sure if I made myself clear.
That's a fair question. Does the applicant or this planner want to respond to that?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Through you to the
Someone needs to turn their mic off.
Sorry?
Someone needs to turn their mic off.
I see call-in user 2. I'm not sure who that is, but you're oh, okay, all right.
Okay, perfect. Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Yes. So in the original application, the applicant wanted the full suite of commercial uses. It did raise a lot of concerns to the public, and as a result, it was scaled back significantly to those uses that are listed. Basically, the owner has no plans, current plans to move any of those uses forward. It's more of a wish list for future needs, future potential, uses on both properties. So again, we're just maintaining the same use that was previously approved. If there is going to be some changes, some additional structures, we know we need to go back to staff and council to update the site plan agreement. So there is a secondary planning process that's necessary to establish any of those listed uses. So again, it's more of a wish list at this point.
Okay, thank you. Other questions from anybody?
Okay, let's move on.
Councillor Lamb, did you have a question?
No, I want to.
No, I just saw your mic was open, so
Yeah, no, I'm
all right,
fine.
well, I don't, I guess the only thing that occurred to me when I saw this application, and I think I understand what the intent of it is and so on, but I recalled that the applicant, Mr. Roberts, whose residence is on the next lot over, going in the whatever direction that is, north, I guess, or west, had previously expressed concerns about being able to see shore dockers and so on from his property and so on. So it strikes me that perhaps his position has changed a little bit on this, because what he's going to see now right next to his residence is more docks and more marina operations. So that's just an observation on my part. I'm assuming that the applicant has made the decision to expand his business on the area, and it is. I guess it's a bit on the other side of a hill, but it's still kind of adjacent to where his waterfront residence is.
Through you, Mr.
It's an observation.
Mayor,
I don't need to comment if you don't.
Comment on that if you
don't
like.
want to, but
I'm happy to respond to that. Right now, I have no plans to put docks in that section at this current time. I am going to keep the zone clear of docks in the front, and I plan on using the rear of the lot for trailer parking, because right now we don't have enough to accommodate any more people. Really, we're full with the current usage site. If you look, when Stefan prepares his report, it'll be obvious when you see from the aerial view how tightly stacked the boats are, and the fact that we're running tight on space. So the frontage on the lake, I don't plan on doing anything with that in the short term. This is more for in the back, where I'm trying to create a little bit more parking and trailer storage for some of these clients. Thank you.
okay, thank you. So could I ask, are you at capacity as far as docks are concerned, or are you able to offer more slips on the dock that you already have?
Mr. Mayor, my plan will be to increase this current dock site with more permits through the municipality. I don't plan on doing multiple docks. I plan on having one large dock, and then this site will be used to support the build out of these future dock slips and taking on more clients as it evolves.
Okay, thank you for your response. Is there anything else anybody has going once? All right. I will then adjourn the public meeting and entertain a motion to reconvene to a regular meeting. Moved by Councillor Bray, seconded by,
I'll second Councillor Lamb.
thank you, Councillor Lamb, that the Council of the Municipality of Whitestone reconvenes into the regular meeting at, looks like 12:19 p.m. All those in favor of so doing?
Councillor Woods, yes.
Councillor Lamb, yes.
Okay, thank you. That's Carrie. I don't expect we will hear from Councillor Nash, but all right, so we're back into a regular meeting. It's so matters arising from the public meeting. I have a motion here. It's just fairly lengthy. I'll read it and see if we can get a mover and seconder. Whereas MHBC Planning Limited has prepared a memorandum for the agenda of December 16th, 2025 with respect to the zoning bylaw amendment for the property located at 9087 Bolger Lake for information purposes, be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of Whitestone receives for information the memorandum from MHBC Planning Limited, and that Council directs staff to prepare a recommendation report considering any new information, comments, and feedback received at the December 16th, 2025 statutory public meeting for presentation at a subsequent council meeting, and that the applicant completes the necessary studies in consultation with staff to demonstrate conformity with section 13.06.3 of the official plan, which will include considerations of traffic and road implications, a summary of the existing number of water access lots on the lakes, quantifying the amount of boat traffic expected both from the proposed development and the cumulative impact of commercial activity planned on the neighboring lot, including details on the existing marina space and/or boat parking spaces that are available, whether the phasing of the build-out of marina/waterfront landing property should be required, whether there should be a maximum number of boat slips permitted on subject property, a conceptual site plan detailing dock location, vehicle parking locations, and emergency access considerations, stormwater management, and the proximity of fish habitat and potential impacts of fish habitat in relation to the scale and location of developments proposed, and that a fish habitat assessment be submitted for review. I know that's a mouthful. Would someone like to move that motion, please?
I'll move, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor
I'll
Woods, seconded
I'll second.
by-
I'll second Councillor Lamb.
Thank you, Councillor Lamb. Any further discussion or any discussion on that motion?
I do, Mr. Mayor, if I could.
Go ahead, Councillor Woods.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor, through you. Mr. Mayor, when you read out the motion, the section, it would be that the applicant completes the necessary studies. Where it says shall, you read will.
Okay, I'm sorry, that wasn't intentional, but there is that's archaic legalese. There is no difference between shall and will in terms of the effect of it. It's a requirement.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
I just wanted to bring that up,
the only other
Mr.
thing
Mayor.
that it could say is may include.
Right.
In which case the persons preparing this report would have the option of leaving it out, but whether it's will or shall, they have to do it. And I apologize if I misread it.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to point that out,
it's
Mr.
not,
Mayor.
there's no significant, I wasn't trying to to water anything down or change this.
No. I
requirement in
wasn't.
any way.
That's not what I was doing. I just wanted to bring it up, Mr. Mayor. But
Okay.
since we're on that section there, in 1306.3, when I've read the official plan, the copy that I have in a binder here, none of these conditions are specifically named. Right?
I'm
So
sorry,
shit that
what did you say?
the conditions that we have listed underneath here, the traffic and road implications, summary of existing number of water access lots on the lake.
Yeah.
But in 1306.3, are those actually specifically listed? All of those things will have to be done? Because that's what it says up here, that it's because of to demonstrate the conformity with section 1306.3. But none of these things are actually written in our official plan. No.
Yes, I'm sorry. Did you want to respond, Councillor Bray? I think Councillor Bray is going to respond.
Yeah, I read it that the conformity to that section of the official plan, and then it says which shall include consideration of. So those things aren't probably listed, but they're probably things that our planner has said should be considered. So should be looked at. That's how I read it. I'm not sure if that's correct or not.
Did you want to respond to Mr. CAO?
Through you, your worship, that would be my interpretation of that section as well.
Yeah, and mine as well. This is our planner's, I don't know if you want to comment, Patrick, but this is your recommendation, I'm assuming, correct?
Yes,
As to what
correct.
should be in the report?
That's correct. And 13.06.3 just speaks to the term is a number of studies, and it's correct. It doesn't list what studies are required, but what Stefan went over in his presentation and what is likely to do in his written submission are to address those comments or don't call them concerns, but we're just looking for further justification on the application to address and consider those matters that have been listed.
Okay, yeah, no, that I understand that. It's just this isn't a specific list that we would apply to every single one that comes up here because it doesn't say it in our paperwork, correct? So
That's
if council
correct.
wanted to, they could say we don't need all of this because it was looked at in the previous submission to the property right next to it.
That's potentially correct. It's what we need to form our opinion, but based on previous discussions with the planner and what's been presented today, we understand some of that information is already available. But yeah, we'll work with Stefan to make sure we have the level of information we need to make a recommendation through the process after this public meeting.
So getting back to that word shall then, wouldn't it make sense to make it say may? Wow, it's a legitimate question, Mr. Mayor. I don't understand why you find it comical, honestly.
I can just speak to what's in our report. It says shall consider. So that's the wording that we used. I'm not sure. It's up to council what wording they want to use in the resolution itself, but the report, we just want to consider those items before we bring it back for a recommendation. So I can only speak to what's in our report.
Any
Stefan,
comments?
Stefan, are you still on the call?
He's still showing as being on
Hi
the
there.
call, yes.
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any problem with shall consider? I think the key word is consider.
No concerns. I mean, I think as I understand what Patrick is noting, these are issues that these are topics that need to be addressed. And, you know, I mean, I don't think we need to run out and do a traffic study. I'm going to provide you with Patrick with a comment to say this is why, you know, this is how we're addressing traffic. Related to a fish study, well, if the mapping shows that there's no sensitive fish study, then I've looked at it and saying to Patrick that a fish study is not necessary because there's no identified habitat. You know, so I'm providing staff with a comment on those official plan policies. It's not to say that we have to go out and do a full traffic study and a fish habitat assessment. That's how I read it.
Okay, thank you.
But if it says shall, Mr. Mayor, entertain me for a minute here, because I know you're really good with the wording when it comes to motions. If it says shall, then it means you have to do it, correct? And if you say may, then it would be the option where then our planner and the applicant's planner would be able to give us their professional opinions. Would that not make
Well,
sense, or am I looking at this totally wrong? I'm just asking the question.
Councilor Ray.
Mr. Mayor, through you, perhaps maybe when you're looking at it, it says which shall include consideration of, that's part of that's the motion, which shall include consideration of. So what it is asking the applicant to consider
Yeah.
all of these things and make comment, which he's already done, and which there is information for. It doesn't mean he has to go and do them, do a study. It just shall include consideration. So when he does his report, it needs to consider these things, not to actually go out and do all of them. That's how I read it.
That would be my interpretation as well. Are you okay
completely
with
fine.
that response, Councilor Woods?
Yeah, that's fine. If that's everyone's response, I guess I read those words differently. But that's fine. If that's what council wants, that's what council will get.
Okay, thank you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, Brian, I kind of agree with the mayor and Councilor Bray. I think the key is, saying consideration of, right? So if I say, well, you and I disagree or agree, Brian, would you at least consider what I have to say, right? I think I'm okay with the wording the way that it is. But by saying may, they could just throw it out and say, well, I don't have to, so I'm not considering any of that stuff. And I guess the key to me is that Stefan, on behalf of the applicant, really doesn't have a big issue with it. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Can I ask one more quick question, Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Is this the same specific wording that was used in the previous application for the original property that was asked for the rezone?
I don't know if there's any way for us to determine that quickly, but
Okay, yeah, no
Through you.
problem. I just thought maybe someone might know, Mr. Mayor, but that's fine if we don't have an answer. No problem.
I don't think, well, sorry, I shouldn't say.
Wasn't there something?
At the time of the previous application, we did not have the same planners that we have now. And I would, without having it in front of me, I would almost guarantee you that there is some difference in the wording between this and I'm seeing new things here that I don't recall in what Patrick has suggested for us that I don't recall in the previous one. I don't recall seeing them. So and because they were written by somebody different, I think you can be fairly confident that it's not identical.
Okay.
All right, if there's nothing further, I would like to call the question on this motion that's in front of us, and this is a recorded vote because it's a planning matter. So our deputy clerk is going to call the roll.
All right, I'm just shouting. Councilor Woods?
Can hardly hear you, Wendy. It's like your mic isn't on.
She just called Councilor Woods.
Thank you. Councilor Woods?
Yes.
Councilor Bray?
Yes.
Councilor Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Comrie?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion's carried.
Okay, thank you to everyone for for that one. Now we have, I guess we can do a couple more things, maybe our consent agenda, and then we will be breaking for lunch at some point. But and thanks to everybody who's participated in that part of the discussion. We're now at 7 point. Let's see. Yeah. The consent agenda, item 7. And again, I'll read this fairly lengthy motion. Whereas the Council of the Municipality of Whitestone has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of 7.1 council meeting minutes, and there's only one, and that's for our previous meeting on November 18th, 2025. 7.2 are council committee and board minutes. And we have Whitestone Environmental Stewardship Committee for September 8th. District of Parry Sound, it's Belvedere Heights for August 27th. The Parry Sound DSAB for October 9th. North Bay Parry Sound District Health Unit for September 24th. And the Emergency Management Program Committee draft minutes for November 4th. And then finally, we have 7.3, which is the unfinished business listed on page 4 of the agenda. So that's what the consent agenda consists of. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of Whitestone hereby approves the following council meeting minutes. And those are 7.1.1, the regular council meeting minutes of November 18th, 2025. And that the Council of the Municipality of Whitestone receives for information 7.2, the following council committee and board minutes. 7.2.1, Whitestone Environmental Stewardship Committee for September 8th, 2025. 7.2.2, District of Parry Sound West, that's Belvedere Heights, board minutes for August 27th, 2025. 7.2.3, District of Parry Sound Social Services Administration Board minutes, October 9th, 2025. 7.2.4, North Bay Parry Sound District Health Unit minutes for September 24th, 2025. And 7.2.5, the Emergency Management Program Committee draft minutes for November 4th, 2025. And finally, 7.3, the unfinished business listed on page 4 of the agenda. Could I get a mover and seconder for that motion, please?
I'll move it.
Okay, Councillor Bray had her hand up first, but we'll take you as the seconder, Councillor Lamb, if that's all right.
That's fine.
Any discussion about any of these minutes? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving it or receiving, as the case may be?
Councillor Lamb, yes.
Councillor Woods, yes.
Thank you very much. That motion is carried. Let's do accounts payable. Need a mover and seconder. Council of the Municipality of Whitestone received for information the accounts payable listing in the amount of $234,114.44 for the period ending November 30th, 2025.
I'll
Mover
move
and
it.
seconder?
I'll move it, Councillor Lamb.
Thank you, Councillor Lamb, seconded by.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Woods. So that motion is seconded, and we can then open it for questions and comments. Who wants to go first?
I don't have any.
You don't have any, okay? Does anybody have any?
I have one, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, please.
Page 127 of our package. It'll be item 3394, IBW surveyors.
Yes, go ahead.
52 or 5424 was the total.
Yep.
I was just wondering what, I think I know what that's for. I was just asking what it's for.
I can answer that through your worship. That is for a survey of the property where the food bank is going.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That's what I thought. That's all, Mr.
Yep.
Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So I'm pretty sure I had a couple here, which I'm just gonna come to. On page 128, there is an item, it's 3398. I guess that's the check number, 3398.
What page?
Sorry,
What page, Mr.
3399.
Mayor? What page?
The payee is Loopstra Nixon LLP. I have not heard of them before, and I was curious as to if perhaps or
What page? Oh, I've got it. Thank you.
128. It's
Yeah,
a
I've
law
got it.
firm. But I'm just curious if maybe you can't tell us, but if you can tell us what that was in connection with, because I've never seen that name before.
Through you, your worship.
Sorry.
Through you, your worship. That is a new law firm that we've used this year. That's why you wouldn't be familiar with it. It is in connection with a building and property line matter that we've dealt with in closed meeting.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. Nothing further required to be said on that one. If we go to page 130, which is, I guess, second last page of the thing. 3412, payment to the town of Perry Sound for $5,000 and change, and it says hazardous waste, and I'm just curious how that came about. I mean, my understanding was that we don't collect hazardous waste. We send people to Perry Sound with hazardous waste, but is this a bill that they receive because Whitestone residents have brought hazardous waste to Perry Sound, or just in what period of time would that cover? I don't recall seeing that one before either. Just curious.
Through you, your worship. I'm not familiar with that one. I'm not sure if the treasurer may have additional information on hand. Otherwise, we would probably have to have the public works manager comment on that and bring the information back to you.
Yeah, through your worship, I'd have to pull the invoice on that to get some details, but I can confer with Mike and we can email council the details.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other questions about payables? If not, then I will call the question to receive the report. All those in favor?
Councillor Lamb, yes.
Councillor Woods, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. That is carried. So we have one staff report. Do you want to do that and break for lunch, or do you want one more?
Yeah, through you, your worship. We do have the bylaw enforcement officer here now, so if we could address that report and then break for lunch would probably be the best.
All right, thank you. I see that our bylaw enforcement officer has just arrived in the community center. So this is a good time to do her staff report. We'll just get it on the floor here with a motion that the Council of the Municipality of Whitestone receives for information report bylaw 2025-01, which is bylaw enforcement services biannual report made to September 2025. And can I get a mover and seconder for that, please? Councillor Bray is
I'll
moving,
move it.
seconded by
I'll second it.
Councillor Lamb. Thank you. So that's on the floor. And what I will now do is just get the report here. Okay, so the original report was signed by our bylaw enforcement officer, and this is her first time in a council meeting, so I want to especially welcome you, Chris. Chris Kasalke is her name, and as you know, she's new as of, well, started the summer, I guess. Anything you wanted to add by introduction, Mr. CAO?
Through you, Your Worship. No, I don't think I have anything to add other than to, as you said, welcome Chris to our first opportunity to present to council at the end of her first season, I guess. She will introduce her report and take any questions.
Super. The floor is yours, Chris. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Nice to be here. Well, you've hopefully had a chance to take a look at the report. In summary, the big items really were noise complaints and dog complaints. The good news about noise complaints is that none of them were repeats. So there was only really a need to have one conversation and it didn't recur. Not so with the dogs, but it's really, basically one problematic situation. I believe it has been resolved now, so I don't expect that there's too much that's going to continue moving forward. And in third place, we have sort of a three-way tie between a lot of questions about road allowance and just what is allowed and what isn't allowed. Same with firearms discharge rules. We had a few questions about that. And then, of course, around the boat launches, there were some questions that were raised with that as well. Beyond that, I think, again, when I approach any resident, I basically just try to get compliance through a good conversation, and it seems to have been very successful for this first season. I also just recently was invited to join a working group that is comprised of various bylaw enforcement officers across Ontario, and we're having our first meeting at the end of January. So I'm really looking forward to that because it's going to allow me to access a lot of resource from very experienced bylaw officers, as well as just sort of seeing how are they handling certain situations. So that's another resource that I'm adding to my arsenal. And beyond that, if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Questions for Chris? Go ahead, Councillor Lamb.
Yeah, welcome, Chris, and thank you for your report. It's very good, and I think probably the best report I've seen in many years. It's more detailed than we normally get, which I think is a good thing. So again, thank you. I know that you didn't mention short-term rental and questions about it, and that's interesting to me, and something that I think we should all bear in mind as we look at a short-term rental bylaw in the new year, which I'm hoping it comes pretty soon in the new year. So yeah, I mean, not getting a lot of complaints is certainly one measure that we should bear in mind. So any comment on the short-term rental situation?
Yeah, I was actually pleasantly surprised as well that there was as little concern raised by the community, because I know it seems to be a pretty contentious issue in a lot of small towns. And so when I looked at the number of calls that came in for that, when I did my analysis at the end of the year, I looked at and went, this is not what I expected. So, and that's a good thing, obviously, right? So I think most people appreciate the current framework that's in place. Yeah, I mean, that's really, that's all that I can really add to that. It just really wasn't something that took a lot of my time.
Roughly how many calls would you have got on that were different short-term rental situations?
I believe for short-term rentals, just give me one moment.
If you had 4 for one place, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for separate places.
Yeah, I literally had one call come in.
Okay, thanks.
And that caller was really only looking to find out what exactly are the rules around short-term rentals, because they were looking at getting a property.
Oh, I see. So it was someone acquiring a property to rent versus someone calling and saying, I've got a problem with the renter next door.
Right, right.
Okay.
Now I should say there is one situation that I don't actually see listed here, but there is one circumstance where it's a shared laneway. There are multiple properties on a shared
yeah.
laneway. And it seems like with a couple of years ago, a new owner came along for one of those properties right smack in the middle of them all. And it resulted in a lot of new stranger traffic in that laneway. And I think that there is maybe room for some discussion if there's going to be any kind of amendments made to the bylaw, because the shared laneways are just not the same as just an open road. But that would be the only major observation that I would have.
Okay, my final question is obviously you do bylaw work for Whitestone as you do in McKellar. Any idea if you had to say your time spent, is it 50-50? Is it 60-40? Or are we busier than McKellar or vice versa?
That's a really good question. I'm gonna have to say it's probably 60-40 to Whitestone in the heavy season in the summer.
Okay.
And yet, as soon as we sort of reached into that October timeframe, it's kind of swung the other way now. So
Is
there's a
that
little
because
more activity in McKellar versus here, where things have gotten very, very calm.
Is that, Chris, because we had this trailer bylaw at the boat launches and things like that? Is that the driving force in the summer or not?
I would say that did take up a lot of time. The other thing is I think both townships were actually a little bit busier than they have been in previous years. And I think part of that is just residents find out there's a new bylaw officer and they just want to say, hey, maybe I'm going to get a different answer if I inquire about this concern that I have. And in most cases, no, I mean, it's the same answer. The bylaws are what they are. So I think that there's always that little bit of interest that people show when they hear that there's someone new and maybe they've had a frustration that they didn't really feel was maybe necessarily resolved. So then they figure, okay, let me see if I can make any different kind of headway. So I feel like, well, the other thing I should mention is that when I did start here, I believe I had 5 or 6 open cases that I took over from my predecessor, and they were fairly convoluted. So it took a good amount of time and several visits with the residents to iron out what was exactly going on and to sort of catch up to what had been some longstanding issues. And so I don't anticipate that. Obviously, that's not going to happen because at this point, I think I have two open cases that are kind of weather dependent a little bit until the spring. And so I really don't feel like there's going to be that initial bump that I had when I first came on board. Versus in McKellar, I kind of started with a clean slate. So I think that accounts for some of the difference too in how much busier it was here.
Yeah, I can just as a final comment, the 2 or 3 cases where ratepayers contacted me and I followed the resolution or the case. You're very good at getting back to people and sort of closing and making sure people are in the loop, right? I think in the past, without being overly critical, I think people were making complaints and then the complainant never was told what the resolution was or what. You have a much better follow-up system, let's just say that, and I thank you for that.
Well, thank you for that feedback. And yes, I was getting a little bit of that as well from residents, that there was some frustration that things were kind of left in limbo and not addressed. I mean, my background is in supply chain management, where it is really critical that there is follow-up. And maybe that has a lot to do with it. But I also personally, just as a consumer, I get extremely frustrated if I place a question out there in the world and I never get anything back. So for me, it's always been just one of the cornerstones of when I deal with anyone is to, if I say I'm going to get back to you, I'm going to get back to you. So it's good to hear that that's what you observed as well.
Okay, thank you, and good job.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Bray.
Yes, Chris, thank you for this good report. It's great to see what all you've been doing. I was just curious, you know, the noise and dogs, the number of cases that you had with them, were any of them to do with a rental place where someone is in a short rental situation? I'm just curious.
Let me just jog my memory here. Can you actually repeat that question again? Just for
Sure. I was just curious as to the noise and dog related incidences, whether any of them were actually in a short rental location where it was being rented at the time, and or is it long-term residents?
Yes, actually, and that is the one that I didn't list it as a separate short-term rental in this report because it's really about the dog complaint and the noise complaint, and that applies to the same address. And those goes back to the same address where it's this shared laneway, and they all have deeded access to get to their various cottages. Yes, absolutely, that is a short-term rental property that was purchased. Apparently, the new owner had declared to everyone there that I'm going to rent it out as much as I can. And as a result, there's a lot of that stranger traffic that I was referring to before on the laneway. And yes, apparently the owner and some of their friends have brought in dogs. They're not necessarily kept just within that property zone. The same goes for noise. You know, they would bring in short-term tenants and they would be noisy. Now, that wasn't as much of a problem this year. That was more of a frustration that the existing residents there expressed about prior years. So there seems to, and one resident did say it has improved somewhat from the previous year because I believe this new owner bought in 24, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a little bit of an improvement. I did find them to be fairly cooperative, and I didn't get many follow-up complaints throughout the season. That was one of the ones that really took a lot of my time because I had to talk to 4 or 5 different residents that live along that laneway, in addition to the subject property of the short-term rental. And so trying to coordinate schedules and all of that and sit down with each party to figure out where their concerns were. So yeah, that was definitely, it was linked to a short-term rental. I just didn't list it out separately because the complaint wasn't really about them having a short-term rental, but more about the behavior that was being inflicted on the rest of the laneway.
Yeah, and that's what I thought would be your answer, because I do know that, you know, a lot of the short-term rental complaints that have happened in the past have all been around noise, fireworks. I don't know about animals. I don't know about dogs, but that kind of thing. So I was just wondering how your assessment of the noise and dog complaints, whether they were like random all over, or if it was and to do with short rentals. But thank you.
Yeah, it was just the one address where the dog and the noise complaints were with the same address. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Are there any other questions or comments for our bylaw officer?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I have a few.
Go ahead, Councillor Woods.
Thanks, through you, Mr. Mayor. Chris, thanks very much for your report. I'm going to echo what Councillor Lamb said. In all the years that I've been on council, I don't ever remember getting it where you've got it all itemized and split up month to month, and I really appreciate that. It's a nice, clean, easy report to read. So I thank you for all the information that you've given us here. I do have a few questions. We did recently pass the new parking bylaws enforced at our boat launches and whatnot. Was there any real problems around the launches with parking that you witnessed in the past, say the high season anyway?
Honestly, I don't think it was as big a problem as I maybe expected. I will say this, on the busy long weekends, I was quite impressed with how everyone negotiated where they were parking. No one was blocked in. Everyone sort of figured it out, even though there are no lines on the actual surface. And I believe that is something that the roads department is looking at doing, is to kind of maybe put some lines in. So I think that people negotiated that pretty well. There were some, and again, I did do a summary in the report about that situation, and really a lot of it boils down to signage, so that people understand where they can park their boat with their trailer attached, where they can park just their vehicles. So I think once we get that sorted out, and I don't know if the roads department had gotten a chance to get to that before the end of the season, because I know they were pretty busy, but I know that we're going to need to just improve where the signage is, so that it's really clear to people where they are allowed to park. But again, despite it kind of being a little bit messy right now, I felt like by and large, everyone was following the rules pretty well. I should add as well that Ed Bennett around the corner has been a great resource because he seems to know every single trailer and who it belongs to. So I have, in fact, been in the parking lot and given him a call and said, "Do you know about this one?" He'll go, "Oh yeah, I know, that's Joe's," or something, and then he'll actually network that for me. So he's been a really good resource for that as well. But overall, I would say I did not see a whole lot of repeat offenders, if you want to put it that way. If I left a note on a trailer, it was gone the next time I went out, and it didn't return to be left by itself unattached.
Okay. So I know for like when we first passed the bylaw, we were trying to give warnings to vehicles unattached to trailers. But did we ever end up writing any tickets for trailers not attached to vehicles in any of the parking areas? Because I know of a few times.
No, and so again, I was going by what my predecessor had done, which was basically the warning notices that we have state for parking that it's just a warning, and that a second offense will be towed. It doesn't mention even a ticket. So, and again, based on what was done before, I followed those steps, and that was put the note on. If they come back a second time, then you can go ahead and ticket or tow. But there was never a second offense. So I really never needed to go to that degree.
Okay. Do we now have the ability to write tickets on say a trailer that's unattached to a vehicle?
Yep, we do.
You know?
We do.
Okay.
I think Chris, sorry, go ahead, Councilor.
I was just gonna, I have a couple more questions, but just getting back to that one. So we do have signs up, right, throughout our municipality now about the new bylaw when it comes to parking and trailers unattached to vehicles. So I'd just be curious, so would it now, for the next following season, now that everybody's had a year basically to understand that this is the new bylaw, would we be giving tickets? Because I thought that's what our bylaw said, that you'll be ticketed or towed.
Yes. So after discussion with Nigel, for this coming season, yes, it will be right away go to a ticket in order to hopefully educate the public a little bit more, because I think sometimes people sort of get sign blind and they don't necessarily register what they're looking at. I think it's the Wawash Association, the Community Association. They're pretty active, and I'm going to get them to issue a bulletin to remind everyone, to educate them that here are the rules. And by the way, where in the past it's been a warning ticket without an actual fine attached to it, but moving forward, it will be a fine right out of the gate. And that should really push a lot of people to cooperate right from the start. And then if there is a second offense, then it would be you get towed. And again, I think it's just really important that we push that message out to the community. And the association, I think, will be a really good tool for us to do that with. And of course, I know that the ladies in the office are great for pushing a lot of information through the township website or the Facebook page. So again, I think just kind of maybe putting that on repeat a little bit leading up to and throughout the season, then nobody can say that, well, it's never been done before. Why has it changed? You know, I think if there's enough exposure of that the new way of doing things, I don't think it should be a big issue.
Okay. Just a couple more questions there. Page 139 of the agenda package today, under June, road allowances. I was just reading on the one, it says use of road allowance for parking and garage over property line. And that would be the complaint I gather from your table here. And then it says provided required information, advise that property line disputes are a civil matter. That was the answer that was given, correct? Was that,
yes. I'm sorry, what was your question on that?
Well, in the municipality, that isn't always the case in every situation. Does somebody on council want to answer that? We just talked about
I can't answer it other than to say, why do you think that it's that a property line dispute is not, why do you think it's a municipal matter?
Well, I'm just asking about property line dispute when we've paid for legal opinions and legal fees for property line disputes.
But we do that only when someone has an application under the Planning Act to do something. Or, but you know, if two
Not from a
neighbors are
bylaw
arguing
complaint?
about where the boundary is between their property, what do we tell them to do? We tell them to go get a surveyor and establish where the property line is. And then they have to sort it out amongst themselves, right? And get legal advice if they need it. But unless there's a building permit involved and the dispute is about whether the building is actually not on their property, or there's a Planning Act matter where they want to, they want to get, whatever it is, the zoning change, they want to get a consent to divide property or whatever, we're not involved in that. Right?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to ask the question because I know during the accounts payable, there was a bit of a different answer. But when it comes to the road allowance for parking, right? Is that not, you couldn't tell somebody to move their vehicle if they were blocking someone's access to get to their property because they're parked on a road allowance? Just a question. I don't know if this was the specific case for this complaint. I was just asked a question for you.
Right. No, I mean, if you read through the bylaws, it does stipulate that you cannot be blocking whether that's someone's access to their property or if there's a fire hydrant, which I know there aren't a whole lot of those, but anything like that is certain meters from bridges, things like that. Yeah, that's within the bylaw.
So I could call in a complaint about someone blocking a roadway that goes into my property. And then
Absolutely,
you would come out and address it. Okay, thank
That's
you very much. I
That's a bit of a
appreciate
different
you.
issue. I think in general, if people ask about property line disputes between neighbors, let's say, that is something that I can't get involved in because I'm not a trained surveyor. Their survey may be old. Someone may have moved stakes. So that is the sort of thing where I have to say to them, you will need to go to civil litigation on that, because then your lawyers have to go back and forth as to, okay, where is the exact location of those property lines? That isn't something that I would have the expertise to assess and try and negotiate between or mediate between the two parties, just because surveyors would need to double check where those lines are.
Okay, so this one that you have listed in June here, it says garage over the property line. So would you then contact our building official and let him know that there was a question about this?
I would need to look at the file and I can certainly do that and get back to you. But I would have to look at the file that's specific to this circumstance.
Okay, okay. And I'm sorry, thanks for entertaining me, Mr. Mayor, but Chris, do you know if we have, or would you be able to provide to me or any member of the public if they asked you, or the municipality of Whitestone standard operating procedures for a bylaw enforcement call?
Standard operating procedures for
Bylaw enforcement call. So how do I make my complaint? What happens then? What steps are followed? Do we have a standard operating procedure printed and readily available for a member of the public to ask?
I don't know that this municipality has outlined such a policy.
Okay, thank you. Do you
Yeah.
think that something like that would be helpful to you? I brought this up before. I brought it up last term and it kind of fell on dead ears. I brought it up a few times this term under our previous CAO. And I was just, in your opinion, I know, and I've spoken to people from other much larger municipalities than ours, and they tell me that we're supposed to have printed and readily available standard operating procedures for a bylaw enforcement call.
I don't think there's anything wrong with having something like that. And in some of my research, I've certainly come across those kinds of SOPs on other municipal websites where they will say, here's the complaint process. This is sort of what we follow. And so, yeah, I could draft something and put that to our council.
Okay. So if somebody has a complaint, do they just call in and complain, or do they have to fill out a form to make something like a legitimate complaint? Is there any paperwork they have to fill out, or is it just a quick phone call?
It's a phone call or an email at this stage. There's no online form for complaints. There's an online form, I believe it's this municipality, for complaints against if they're not happy with something that a staff member has done, but there's no online complaint form for actual bylaw complaints at this point.
Okay.
So yeah, it's all
Thanks very much.
it's all driven through voicemail and email.
Thanks very much. And just like to tell you again, Chris, thanks very much for what you're doing, and your report is fantastic. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome, and thank you.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, just back to this use of the road allowance for parking and garage over the property line. So I take it someone called in and said someone's parking on the road allowance, and but also their garage is over the property line and is on the road allowance. If there's a garage on our property being the road allowance, then we should be doing something about that. And Councilor Woods said, get a hold of the building inspector, which, there may not be an open permit on it or whatever, but I mean, if we have a road allowance and someone puts a garage up on it, we should be doing something about it, would be my general comment on that, unless they were separate things, one for parking and one for a garage. I don't know. So not trying to do your job, but if there's structures on our road allowances, then we should be doing something about it, in my opinion. So it's just a comment. The second thing in closing is under the previous bylaw inspector, where there was a complete intolerance from council, I thought, was cases of handicap parking. And I think there were cases where people were parking without a handicap sticker in handicap parking, and they were given a warning. And then the next week, I think another councillor went out, and there were others there without being ticketed or whatever. So there should be zero, in my opinion, zero tolerance for people that park illegitimately in a handicap zone. So again, that's just a comment. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Just going back, we're kind of past our break time here, but just going back to the question of ticketing. If you have a trailer parked or a vehicle parked somewhere where it isn't supposed to be, do you have the ability to look up the marker, the license plate, Or do you have to call the OPP and get them to tell you who it is? So-
It's a call to the OPP, and then they reach out, so they can't give me that information. They would reach out to the owner to say, hey, you need to move your vehicle or it's going to get towed. Now, having said that, again, because I didn't have repeats and because I was following along with what was done in the past for this season, I really didn't need to go down that
Yeah.
path. And so I will say I'm not 100% confident in my answer that the police can't divulge that information. But generally speaking, they're pretty tight-lipped when it comes to, I mean, you can't just call the OPP and ask for ownership information. Now, can a bylaw officer get that information? I will certainly be double checking on all of that before this next season comes up.
Well, yeah, I guess we can talk about this offline. The municipality can apply to its MTO because MTO runs the plate to owner system. And it's possible for a municipal bylaw, for the municipality to get you that access, and we were trying to do that about 2 years ago, but trying to get anything out of MTO in anyone's lifetime is a challenge, so, you know,
Okay.
it's, we haven't got, I just wasn't sure whether we had in fact got it or not, because otherwise, you then have to go through the OPP and they don't.
Yeah,
They don't want to do it. Their position is, well, you guys should get your own ability to do it, right?
yeah, there's nothing in the bylaw that reflects that. So I do not think that was ever put through. I can look into it though and see.
No,
I
it's,
mean, unless you think,
anyway, well, our CAO can maybe follow up on it. Sorry, did you have a comment, Councillor Bray?
No, I was just gonna say, I remember
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
discussion about getting that ability. And I don't think anything ever came of it.
No. Yeah, and I don't think it's our fault either. I think it's MTO's fault. It is, unless you hound them endlessly, they. Anyway, I'd like to see if we could perhaps break for lunch, but before we do that, could we just could I just call the question on the motion to receive the report for information with thanks?
Counselor Lamb, yes.
Councillor Woods, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. That motion is carried, and with that, I will declare a break for lunch. It's about 20 after, so if we go till about, say, half an hour till about 10 to 2 or so, we will try to come back then, if that's all right. So we'll put our recess up and we can stop recording. We will go back. Oh, where's my pen? That's my pen. Yep, he might have disconnected himself inadvertently. We'll see if we can get him back. And Councillor Woods, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you fine, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. We're just waiting for Councillor Lamb and we'll start. Okay. Can you hear us, Councillor Lamb?
I can, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you. We're getting ready to go.
Okay, good.
I will just If I can find it, turn my camera back on. There we are. All right, thank you. We are resuming the meeting after our recess for lunch. And we are at section 10 in the agenda, which is bylaws. And we have two bylaws. The first one is the one that we discussed earlier at length today, having to do with a bylaw to stop up, close and stop up and sell the original Shore Road allowance on Wawashkesh Lake in front of Anna Small's property. So I'll ask for a mover and seconder for the following, please. That bylaw number 40-2025, being a bylaw to close and stop up that part of the original Shore Road allowance along the shores of Wawashkesh Lake in front of lots 31 and 32, concession 4 in the geographic township of Mackenzie, now in the municipality of Whitestone, district of Parry Sound, designated as Part 1 on Plan 42R 22838, and to sell Part 1 on Plan 42R-22838 is hereby passed the 16th day of December 2025. Mover and seconder.
I'll move it.
Thank you, Councillor Lamb, seconded by.
I'll second, Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor.
All right, fine, Councillor Woods. We'll take Councillor Woods this time. Any discussion? If not, then I will call the question and we'll use a recorded vote as per section 3.20 of the procedural bylaw.
Thank you. All right, Councillor Bray,
Yes.
Councillor Lamb,
Yes.
Councillor Woods,
Yes.
Mayor Comrie.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion is carried.
All right, thank you. All right, that motion is carried and now we can move on to our second bylaw, which is item 10.2. And that particular one has to do with the use of alternative voting methods, which again, we discussed previously, but we need to pass a bylaw to implement council's decision on that one. So once again, can I get a mover and seconder, please, that bylaw number 44-2025, being a bylaw to provide for the use of alternative voting methods, is hereby passed the 16th day of December 2025.
I'll
Moved
move.
by Councillor Bray, seconded by
I can second, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Woods. Thank you very much. And I will ask, there is a report from our JO clerk, so I will just ask him if he wishes to introduce it.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, I don't have a lot to speak of on this matter. It is something that was considered by council at a report earlier in the year. This is simply a bylaw to implement that decision and put in place the voting methods for the 2026 election. So if there are any questions, I can certainly try to answer them.
Thank you. Are there any questions? There is a report here from our deputy clerk too that mentions when we passed resolution 248 back in July. So this is kind of a formality. If nothing further, can I call the question then on this bylaw? All those in favor?
Councillor Woods,
Lamb.
yes.
Councillor Lamb, yes.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. That is carried. That brings us to item 11. which is business matters. 11.1 is has to do with conferences and workshops, and we have a memorandum from our deputy clerk just about some other conferences and workshops that are available for people in the coming year. So in order to get this on the floor, mover and seconder, please, that the Council of the Municipality of Whitestone receive for information the memorandum from Deputy Clerk Wendy Schroeder regarding conferences and workshops in 2026.
I'll move it.
Thank you, Councillor Lamb, seconded by.
I'll second, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Woods. Discussion on this one, or is there anything you want to tell us about your report?
No, there's nothing more that I need to say than what's in the report. This is more for interest, so you can plan and schedule your year ahead. This isn't comprehensive by any means, especially for the elections training, but as more elections training or workshops are available, we will keep adding them to the website.
Yes, thank you for that comment. That was a comment I was going to make, which is that the list of things that are here is not exhaustive. We've already made decisions in regard to the Roma conference, which is in January 18th to 20th. But there's and this is coming up in later in the agenda. There is a FONOM conference that we normally attend, which is in May in Timmins this year, and there is AMO in Ottawa in August, as is usual. But when I receive, because I get notifications of all these things, and I normally forward them to the rest of council, if they are workshops, because there are a lot of these things that are workshops, one-day sessions on various topics. Some of them have to do with things like cybersecurity. Some of them have to do with, elections, as our deputy clerk mentioned, and so on. So I try to pass those on to the rest of council in case somebody is interested, because the cost to participate in them is relatively small and you can often learn lots from them. So anyway, I'll open it up for comment. Councillor Bray.
Yeah, there's also the district municipal meetings spring and fall, so that's always a good one. But yeah, thanks for this list, because it gives us an idea of what's coming up. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, if not, I will call the question to receive the report for information. All those in favor?
Councillor Lamb, yes.
Councillor Woods, yes.
Thank you very much. That motion is carried. Now we have some that were added to our list when we amended the agenda at the beginning. There is 11.2 is conference information about the FONOM conference in, as I mentioned, in Timmins. So mover and seconder that the Council of the Municipality of Whitestone receive for information the email from the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities regarding the 2026 conference, and that the following members of council and staff attend the conference, which we can populate in a minute, but let's, can we get a mover and seconder to get it on the floor?
I'll move it.
Councillor Lamb, thank you. Seconded by
I'll
Councillor Bray.
second.
Okay, discussion.
Well, on the FONOM, through you, Mr. Mayor, I went last year in North Bay, so I'll and Wendy went also. So we usually send two people to this, and so obviously I'll beg off for this year and let someone else go. So, you know, I found it, I guess, interesting. I guess the relevancy, I guess, can be questioned. I guess there's an awful lot about the highways going way into the north and coming from the north back here. But anyway, there were some interesting things, but a lot of stuff is irrelevant or less relevant, let's just say that, in terms of Whitestone. So, but anyway, I won't be going to FONOM this year because I went last year. Thank you.
Any I find them valuable, and I am certainly still interested in going. I did, and I haven't had any further discussion. I did offer to do a presentation at that conference on ECDEV back when I was last talking to Mac, who's the secretary of FONOM, or the executive director of FONOM, I guess. And I
On
don't
what
know if
was
there's
it?
anything, so I guess there's some possibility that I might end up doing a presentation on it, but I don't know. I guess it's a ways out. I haven't seen a draft agenda or anything like that, but.
Well, we also have Councillor Nash, who's not here. Do we have to do this today, or can it wait till January?
Well, I think it could wait. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think
What is
council should be.
I'm sorry, I didn't look at the.
Yeah. Why
I
did
don't
we
look
add it
at the
for
deadline
today?
for it. Is there?
Why did we add it for today, I guess, is my question.
Yeah.
Through you, your worship, I think we have plenty of time to register, you know, if you want to leave this until January.
Yeah.
We added it to the agenda simply because it followed along with the previous item, and we thought it was good timing to have it in front of council. But certainly in terms of making a decision and in terms of who attends, that could be done in January without issue.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what we should do.
All right, so we'll I'll just make a note that the
Defer, I
question of
guess.
attendance deferred. Can we, if there's nothing else, can we just vote to receive it for information then?
Yep. Councillor Lamb, yes.
Or in fact, you know, it's got to come back, so we could defer the whole thing for that matter, I suppose, but.
Yeah.
Anyway, all those in favor of deferring it?
Councillor Lamb, yes.
Councillor Woods, yes.
Okay, thank you. That's the way we have it. All right. And the next one is 11.3, and this is some information that we got back from the West Parry Sound Health Center regarding the rural nurse practitioner-led clinic. So the motion, suggested motion is that the Council of the Mist Valley of Whitestone receive for information the briefing note, NPAA.org information sheet, that's the Nurse Practitioners Association of Ontario information sheet, the CareBridge information sheet, and the Northeast Region Virtual Care Clinic information sheet from Naomi Wachowiak, Manager of Operations, West Parry Sound Health Center, Rural Nurse Practitioner-Led Clinics. Mover and seconder.
I'll move.
Councillor Woods moves, seconded by Councillor Bray. And that's open for discussion.
Oh, what is it? Like, have we seen this?
Well,
What am I supposed to
Well,
comment on?
it was sent out to council by our deputy clerk as an addendum, and it was one of those addenda that we added this morning, but everyone should have received it.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like you don't know what we're talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about, so.
Okay,
Could
well,
someone please summarize what we're talking about here?
that's,
Yeah.
that's not going to be easy. And I'm wondering if this too, we should defer. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. What it is basically is it's an explanation. There's a bunch of documents together. And you remember we had asked them to come and make a delegation
Yeah.
to us. And so they said, well, sorry, we don't have time to do that or don't want to do it or whatever. But here's the information that addresses the concerns you had. And the concerns that we had were, why is it that people with minor medical issues that used to be able to, particularly seasonal residents in the area that used to be able to get attended to at the nursing station can no longer do so. And so this is a long, very detailed explanation that goes into why, and they're attributing this to a provincial government policy, which I suppose is valid to at least to some extent, that their goal is to try to roster people, and the more they roster people, the less capacity they have to see people on. And effectively, they're saying, we're not dealing with sort of transient emergencies. So if you have a problem and you're up here and you're a seasonal resident, you should contact your doctor in wherever you normally have that doctor. And if you don't, you could make it, there's some agency within the Parry Sound Hospital, other than the Emerge department, that you can ask for a medical appointment. But other than that, call telehealth or go to Emerge. And maybe I'm being unfair, but that's my summary. Councillor Brave, she may have a more charitable view of what we were sent.
Well, I'm not quite sure I do, but I read all this. This is sort of what I spoke to at after I had the meeting at the nursing station, the advisory committee meeting. And I understand that, yeah, it might have been short notice to be able to come to the December 16th, but I would like to see that we ask Naomi when she can come and to get her booked in, because I think someone needs to come and talk to council, and council needs to be able to ask questions and just look at the whole situation. I mean, I don't think we're going to change it. I think this is a done deal, but I am concerned that this started happening in 2018, and none of you knew anything about it from council. So this council has been very supportive of the nursing station, had built the property, have renovated, and that renovation has been since this happened, right?
Yep.
So, and nobody knew about that. So I have some concerns about the level of communication and transparency that has been going on. I don't think we're going to be able to change it because this is the way it's going. But I do think we need to have more information coming forward. I think it's great that there are already 560 people in the area that now have primary care at the nursing station. I mean, I'm not saying that we should ever stop that, because I think 560 people are a lot between McKellar, Magnetawan, and Whitestone. But I think there might be some, I have some other questions to ask around that I would like to ask. And it's just easier than me sending in questions and getting answers. I would rather have somebody come and speak to council, and also it's there then for the public to be able to participate in. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I agree wholeheartedly
Mhm.
with what Councillor Bray says. And I mean, for the love of God, I mean, the people are within 60 yards of the community center or 100 yards. Why can't they walk across the street, whether it's Naomi or Teresa or whoever it is, and come and just say, hey, good morning. Here's what we do, what we don't do. Here's what's changed. Here's what people need to do. And then that needs to be, in my opinion, properly communicated to particularly our ratepayers. Not just saying here's, and again, I haven't looked at it, but here's a bunch of links and things, you decipher it yourself or interpret it yourself. So let's find out when someone is able to come. And again, I mean, why wouldn't they want to be transparent? In my case, for instance, my doctor is back in Burlington, and my family doctor, but yet if I need blood work, I can call the nurse practitioner, and I don't know, every week or two there's someone who will come in and take blood, so I can get that done. But yet I hear from other ratepayers that they can't get in or whatever, and so I think we need. I'm just reflecting, I guess, what Councillor Bray said. Let's get them here so we can ask them a few questions. It'd be a friendly meeting. It's just, as you say, I don't think it's going to change anything. But at least there's a clarification, right? So thank you.
Right.
So I would defer.
Any other comments before we, I don't know, Councillor Woods, did you have any?
No, I agree with the rest of council that it would be a good idea to have somebody come out and give us a presentation so we can all get all the information that we need, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thanks. I guess this too then is a motion to
defer.
To defer because so it'll go back to staff to try and follow up with them. I don't know, I sort of well, anyway. I think somebody should perhaps explain to them the issue about how this is likely to be perceived in the community too, frankly, but okay, motion to defer. All those in favor, please.
Councillor Lamb, yes.
Councillor Woods, yes.
Okay, thank you. Whoops, I put carried. I should have put deferred. There we are. Okay, this brings us to item 12, which is correspondence. And again, we'll do this, get the motion on the floor and populate the list of the ones we want to discuss. So, and there are quite a few in this list. They go all the way to item P. So, whereas the Council of the Municipality of Whitestone has reviewed the correspondence items as listed on page 6 of the December 16th, 2025 council meeting agenda. Now therefore be it resolved that council received the correspondence items for information with the following extracted for further discussion and action. Mover and seconder? Councilor Bray moves, seconded by?
I'll second, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Woods, thank you. So let's populate the list. Oh, there's, as I said, items, it's on page 151 of 184 of your agenda package, if you're looking for it. A number of things that have come in about different things. Anyway, there's a couple related to the Narrow North District School Board. There are a couple, and maybe, let's see, there's C and C1, so perhaps I will just mention something to you and then quickly about that one. There's one about Blue Box, there's Something about Emerald Ash Borer, there's different couple of phonom motions, three different phonom motions. Call out the ones you want to talk about. I got C and C1 so far. And that's near North District School Board, Parry Sound High School. Sorry, did you have one, Councilor Bray? Nothing else you want on the list? Okay. So what I can tell you about the Minister of Education, I think everybody knows that and you have probably seen correspondence from the minister himself, Paul Calandra. He has taken he personally at this point has taken over administration of the Parry Sound of the Near North District School Board in its entirety. The Director of Education has resigned / retired, whatever. I believe that the board meetings are effectively suspended at this point. I anticipate that there will be someone else appointed as an administrator from the Ministry of Education, not the minister himself, because he's got other things to do, but for now he's acting as the administrator. And he did spend, I think, Thursday and Friday of last week here in Parry Sound anyway, and looking at the school. And he did advise, it was reported in the media that he advised them that the new mega school building will not likely be ready until September of 2026, ready to be, to be occupied. He had arranged, some of you will know that the heads of council in West Parry Sound had asked for me and did have, in fact, a meeting with him about a week ago. It'll be last Wednesday, I guess. And he did agree that he would meet with them monthly to provide progress reports going forward. And in fact, that meeting was going to take place on Monday afternoon of this week, yesterday, but it got rescheduled to Wednesday afternoon. So these are just conference calls where and they are confined to the heads of council or their representatives, but they're just updates in the spirit of trying to be open and transparent with the West Parry Sound community about what's going on. So I thought we might have something more to report when the meeting was scheduled for yesterday, but it's not scheduled now till Wednesday. So we'll see what new we learn. So that, to be honest, that's about all that we can report. But I guess things are moving along, maybe not in the direction that, it kind of means that the students who are currently occupying the high school, the old high school, are going to be learning under less than ideal conditions for the balance of this school year. Any questions or comments on that? All right. Is there anything else that you want to talk about under correspondence? I'll call the question on the motion then to receive this correspondence for information. All those in favor?
Councillor Woods, yes.
Councillor Lamb, are you? He's muted, apparently.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Lamb, yes.
All right, thank you. So I think that concludes that portion. That's the matters arising from correspondence. We have item 13, which is councillor items. Anybody have a
So I just
councillor
have-
item they want to bring up?
I just have one.
Go ahead.
We asked for a delegation at Roma on Provincial Park, I guess, out near
Yeah.
Black Lake. Or did we get that delegation?
We do not know. And I did send a reminder to somebody because I knew someone would ask about that, and I didn't get a response. The legislature is basically on break, right? But we should have an answer before, I think, before Christmas, right? But I haven't got it yet. So I
Okay.
also, well, sorry, does anybody else have an item? Because I do have one. I do have one. My question was, you know, and it's about the possibility of again having a New Year's levy here on January 1st, Thursday, January 1st of 2026. My proposal would be that we do something similar to what we did last year here in this room on January 1st. Any thoughts or comments about that?
Okay by me.
All right.
Yeah, I would
Well,
say that's a good idea,
if there's
Mr.
no
Mayor.
objection, I will undertake to work with staff to organize something. It'll be fairly simple. It'll be a drop in here in the afternoon of New Year's Day, and we'll just put out a few tables and have some, you know, tea, coffee, cider, whatever, some cheese, cheese and veggies or something. I don't know. Anyway, all right. So those are the two. Is there anything else under councillor items? No, I don't see anything, so we'll move on. This is, sorry, I'm just making a note here, but what we talked about. UCP delegation, yeah, okay. So questions from the public, number 14. We do have, I see one member of the public still on the conference call. By the look of it, anyway, it's Anna Small. I don't, are there any questions or comments from the public? Well, they're supposed to be questions.
Yeah, not comments.
They're not supposed to be comments. All right. So if there are none, then we will now move into, well, entertain a motion to move into closed session to consider, there are 3 items on the closed agenda. So there is 15.1, which is the minutes of the closed session on November 18th. There is a pending acquisition or disposition of land by the Nashes, and there is another disposition of land involving a shore road allowance that was deferred, that was put into closed earlier. That's 15.3. So could I get a mover and seconder that we go into close, please?
I'll move it.
Moved by Councillor Lamb, seconded by
I'll second, Mr. Mayor.
Counselor Woods. Thank you. All those in favor of adjourning?
Counselor Lamb, yes.
Yeah.
Counselor Woods, yes.
Okay, thank you. That motion is carried. We are now in closed as of 2:31 p.m. I should ask all those in favor of reconvening to a regular session.
Counselor Lamb, yes.
Counselor
Okay.
Woods, yes.
I just want to make sure we got everything. So now matters arising from the closed session. The only item we have is the minutes. Mover and seconder that the Council of the Municipality of Whitestone hereby approves the regular closed session council meeting minutes of Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. Moved and seconded by Councilor Bray.
I'll move
Moves,
it.
seconded by
I'll second it.
Councilor Lamb. All those in favor?
Counselor Lamb, yes.
Counselor Woods, yes.
Thank you. That's carried. Those minutes are approved. And now we have a confirmatory bylaw. That bylaw number 45-2025 being the confirmatory bylaw for the regular council meeting of the municipality of Whitestone on December 16th, 2025 is hereby enacted the 16th day of December, 2025. Who will move?
I'll move.
Councilor Lamb moves, seconded by
I'll second.
Councilor Woods. Thank you. All those in favor?
Counselor Lamb, yes.
Counselor Woods, yes.
And last but not least, adjournment. Now therefore be it resolved that this meeting be adjourned at 3:38 p.m. Oh, sorry. Until the regular council budget meeting of Wednesday, January 14th, 2026 at 10 a.m. or at the call of the chair. Mover and seconder.
I'll move.
Thank you, Councilor Woods, seconded by Councilor Bray. All those in favor of adjourning?
Counselor Lamb, yes.
All right,
Counselor
well,
Woods,
thank you very
yes.
much, everybody, for your patience and
Merry
persistence.
Christmas, everyone.
We are before curfew.
Yeah. Merry Christmas,
and
everyone.
I again, want to extend best wishes to all of you for the Christmas season, and we will hopefully see you all again on January the 1st here in the community center.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot.